everyone. Welcome to Wickedness, a game that follows a coven of three witches as they solve various challenges presented to them by a tarot deck. This is a game we're doing for Pride Month. I am super excited. It's a bit of an interesting diceless system, and I can't wait to explore it with these lovely folk. So we spent some time earlier this week creating these three witches and fleshing out the world they occupy. So I'd love to take a moment to introduce these lovely players and have them tell you a little bit about their characters. So Sade, would you like to go first? Tell us about you and who you're playing.
Hello, I'm Sade Smith-Edwards, she, her pronouns. I'll be playing the Old Soul, Hawthorne. She is a very strict type of witch that wants magic to be done a certain way, and feels very much like the mom friend of this group. So it's gonna be a wonderful time. I hope. For her, it's not. For me, it's gonna be great.
Amazing, Lex.
Hi, I'm Lex. I'll be playing Madeline, the Wild Spirit. And she's not so much the mom friend as the let's do shots friend.
All right. That is honestly enough for that character.
I feel like you get it.
Yeah, and the hair is giving a lot, and I love it so much. Nikki.
Hey everybody, I'm Nikki here, and in addition to the wine aunt and the mom friend, I will be playing Poppy, the pure heart, and I'm excited to go very out of my comfort zone. I'm not pure at all, so let's see how this goes.
Excellent. This is an excellent, like, chaotic found family dynamic that I cannot wait to make worse, better. I don't know. We'll see what the tarot deck decides. So I'm Paula. Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm going to be the facilitator for this game. And I want to take a moment to tell you a little bit about the world that we're playing in, that we created here together. So within the large kingdom of mountains and swamps, just outside the shining capital city, there is an abandoned fortress ruin, once home to those who worship Aris, the goddess of karma. One of many long and forgotten gods within the realm. Within this abandoned fortress, the witches Hawthorne, Madeline, and Poppy perform their magic, protect the forgotten goddess, and live relatively unbothered by those outside their circle. They make up the coven of Karma's bitches. There is also the underworld, a realm of mysteries and the dead, ruled by lordling Azad, and the underworld itself is a mirror filled with envious doppelgangers, shades of the dead, and other spirits roaming about. While currently existing in balance with the kingdom above, the workings of the coven may stir its denizens and whet its appetite. During this game, the coven will face challenges determined by a tarot deck. I will read the challenge when then the coven will discuss how they may tackle it, deciding to face it with their collective wisdom, wave the issue away with true magic at a personal cost, or fall prey to their follies and let the problem go unsolved. Through these challenges, we build our story. So, I suppose let's see what the first challenge will bring. Jump right into it. I'm also using this lovely tarot deck. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I got it in Salem. So, there you go. I got it in Salem on Friday the 13th.
Oh, no.
Destined to be.
Oh, this is going to go
meant
good.
to happen.
The benefits of living so close by. So our first tarot pull here is the King of Swords. These do tend to scale up based on the number, so King would be the highest here, and the suit does determine the type of problem, swords usually being problems of a violent nature. So I'm very curious to see what the King of Swords has to offer us. These challenges also direct themselves at a particular character, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's their challenge alone to face, but somehow circles around them or involves them. So this challenge centers around the pure heart.
Oh no.
It already starts well. If the kingdom is not at war, it is preparing for war. And if the kingdom is at war, then it's going badly. So we're preparing for war. In either case, you have been summoned by one of the kingdom's leaders, the old soul will tell us which, to help contribute to a special project of war. The wild spirit will tell us what makes it so dangerous. If you solve this challenge with wisdom, you may prevent or end the war, and either lessen the kingdom's ignorance by one or add a new friend to the sanctuary. And that's all it says. So, Old Soul, which of the two we have established so far, kingdom's leaders, has asked the coven to create this project of war or
I
aid
think
in this project?
I think we're going to go with the deviously youngster Felipe as that one.
Felipe, the devious youngest of the sort of group of shady, was it ministers
Mm.
Yeah.
that run, that run this kingdom. So the youngest has brought you in to work on this project. Wild Spirit, what is so dangerous about the project? Or if you want to give us any details about the project itself.
I think in keeping with his kind of like thinking he can do it better, he wants to take some kind of machine that they already have and is trying to make it more dangerous than the other kingdom we're going to be at war with knows. But of course, this is unpracticed, unprepared, really just an experiment in the making.
They don't know what they're getting into, perhaps.
Yeah.
So, you three witches do know the three ways you can solve this. And if you solve it with wisdom, you could prevent or end the war. But unfortunately, you're still a young coven and you have not developed any wisdom just yet. This is actually seemingly the first big challenge that your coven is facing. So, uh, you have two options of how you may solve it. Or I suppose one to solve it, two options of how you can proceed.
They have a lot of nerve coming to us about this. This is a very big ask. We just here. We just got here.
Yeah.
And to coming to you, young one, this is not that's too tall of an ask for anyone.
I don't know why he singled me out. Um, but I don't know what to do. I mean, I can make some suggestions, but I don't know if anything I can say is going to help the kingdom. And more importantly, I don't want it to be something that's going to really badly affect the other kingdom. You know, there's winning a war, but then there's like going overboard to win a war. So I think I'm going to have to uh, go ahead and be thwarted by my inexperience with my and take a folly on this one.
Mm.
All right. I'll divvy out wisdom at the end here. Wild Spirit, Madeline, and Old Soul, Hawthorne. What do you have to say on this?
I think it would be a good time for Poppy to make her bones, as it were. She can't be young forever.
That's understandable, but war is a big jump from like, oh, maybe just a quick little ask of the town, maybe help a citizen or two. Oh, but advisor to a war council. Is that
Last week, the spell I learned was how to make the perfect s'more. I feel like there's a really big
see that
jump
right there?
from
That's a big
campfire
jump.
back to war. I don't know how trebuchets work, guys. I don't know if this is gonna go well for me.
Sounds like war's coming one way or the other. You might as well win over Felipe while we have the chance.
That is true.
Hmm.
Getting favor is one thing. It's just, again, it's a big ask of you. I would say possibly. What advice can you think of to give this young minister? How could you make his war machine more dangerous? It sounds like a whole plaything. Let's make it bigger and badder and louder, is what it sounds like to me.
Well, you know, Poppy, if you don't actually want to contribute to the war, Hawthorne's got a point. Sometimes it's just about making it louder, making it look
Hmm.
bigger, without actually helping in any way.
I see what you're
Felipe's
saying.
young. Put a pop cannon on the front of it and tell him it increases the damage.
I don't
Yeah, I'll
approve. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
just mumble a fake spell and walk around and be like, "Yep, 10 times the damage. Definitely, don't worry about it, guys."
So kind
That
of
could
like
work.
what is it called again? Um, it doesn't actually work, but it looks like it did. What is that called again? That thing.
A placebo.
Yeah, there we go. A placebo. That thing that you give to people to make
Yeah,
them feel like they're feeling better when they really aren't.
give the war machine a placebo.
That's a good idea.
I like that idea
Great.
as well. I think we should do that. Okay.
Kevin, you
So,
are
sorry, go
limited
ahead.
in that you cannot use wisdom to solve this. But if you do wish to
Mhm.
solve it, only one of you has to use true magic. It doesn't have to be true magic in the sense that you are truly making the swarm machine deadly. You can truly make it loud.
Mhm.
Any number of you can, and those who don't would likely fall prey to a folly. But it sounds like you're all on the same page. So are you all three using true magic together to make this war machine louder?
I think so.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
All right. So in order to use true magic, you would need to strike a source. And your magic comes from 9 different sources, different aspects of who you are and what you value, and maybe even things you hold secretly beneath the surface. So I'd love to hear what source you're striking and what piece of yourself you're losing in using this true magic.
I'm gonna say Hawthorne loses harmless. Because one, the young minister bought a young one into this war and like, oh, so we're gonna play like that. All right, cool, awesome. Fine, let's go. So I'm gonna strike that one.
All right, strike it.
I'm gonna strike I think strong, because I think that originally I was kind of urging Poppy to actually make this a better war machine, and then in the end was like, just lie about it.
Excellent. And Poppy, you can still fall prey to your folly if you'd like, but if you want to use true magic, you may strike a source.
I think I'm going to use true magic. And I'm going to strike innocent. I feel like this war that's going on is really awakening Poppy to what's going on in this kingdom and the world outside of the coven, and it's not a place that she particularly finds comforting.
All right, we are off to a strong start here. For the audience, everything is sort of in the balance in this game. There's the kingdoms, ignorance, poverty, and despair. They're the coven mates' sources and magical uses. If anything falls too far out of balance, including the underworld taking too much control, the game will simply end. We are aware of what will end the game, so it won't just end in the next few turns, but everything here hangs in the balance. So with that, let's move to our next challenge. As with no one falling to their folly, no wisdom is divvied. So our next card here, keeping in theme, the 5 of Swords. I will say I bought this deck a month ago, so I shuffled it as much as I could, but cards will stay
Totally
together. They
fine. Like
will.
it
And
is what it
honestly,
is.
it
Let's
makes it
go.
work. This is our war arc, y'all. The 5
Strong
of
first
Swords
season.
Yeah.
going right
It's our
into
villain
it.
phase. Let's go.
Starting with the villain arc. That's how we do it here. The 5 of Swords centers around the wild spirit. The old soul will tell us where we are walking, and the pure heart will say which of your friends is with you when you are accosted. Several toughs emerge from hiding, and one asks if you're part of the coven, spitting out the words as if they are vile to say. More encircle you and block any escape. How do you react to the sudden confrontation? So to go back, old soul, where are you out walking?
Hmm. I would say we're like walking. Let me look. Walking through one of the orchards and vineyards of that area. We just were like just trying to like have a nice evening, probably do some like talking quietly, like just having a walk.
Amazing. Pure heart. Which of the sanctuary's friends, which we have predetermined, are with you during this walk?
I think a grateful thief is walking with us. He's just come back from trying to do a job. He doesn't want to tell us exactly what's going on. It's probably best that we just leave him to his own devices, but we are thankful that he's here. He's been a good friend to us.
So Jamie, with eyes the color of amber, is joining you on the walk with darting heads, looking around, trying to see if they're being followed, and seemingly missed what Madeline did see, which is people coming out from behind pieces of this vineyard, behind trees and wherever you happen to be, and surrounding you. What do you do? How do you deal with this?
So my intention is to fall to my folly, which is be goaded into making the wrong move. Um so I figure when they come out of the woods and are all like, are you part of the coven? Madeline, without even really thinking about it, steps right to the front and is like, yeah, what of it?
Oh my god. This was a wonderful evening. We could have just ignored them and went the other way.
Now
And
you
let
are
them
in this
talk like
conflict.
that?
What are they going to do? We have magic.
Kind of looking around at the toughs like, yeah.
Maybe we should try and reason with them. I feel like, maybe we can find common ground here and just go our separate ways.
Hey, you with the dingy clothes. Why exactly are you starting stuff with people you don't know exactly?
We heard nothing but bad things about you.
We just got here. Like, what did you
And
hear?
the war machine? None of us want this, and you're out here helping
Oh,
us
our leaders come
fight
to us
and
asking for help, and we
destroy.
are supposed to deny them. Is that how we were supposed to do it?
You're your own folk, unless you're in the pocket of the ministers.
So you have made a large assumption, and you're coming at us.
What of
And
it?
we enhanced a war machine, and you want to start a scuffle in a vineyard.
He's
Not
not like,
smart.
they're all just looking at you. They've made their decision. You have options between, if you want to solve this at all, it's going to have to be true magic. Since none of you have the wisdom to talk them out of it, they are set in what they are doing.
What did you want to do
I
again? Sorry.
I am fully prepared to fall to my folly, be goaded into making the wrong move, and take this from a verbal altercation to a physical one. Because I do have sword magic. I'm not looking to use
You
magic to solve it. I'm looking to use magic to make it far, far worse.
excellent. That's what we like to see here. Essentially, I would say, it's worse now. You are pulling your sword. Like, what does this look like? What does sword magic look like? Do you have a sword that's enchanted?
Yeah, I figure that Madeline has like a one of those like thigh daggers, but when she pulls it, as she pulls it out of the thigh holster, it just keeps going until it's a full length sword.
Excellent.
That's so
They are
dope.
starting
I
to
love it.
pull various weapons themselves. Nothing has happened yet, but Poppy and Hawthorne, do you fall prey to one of your follies and allow this to escalate, or do you strike another source?
I
Let's
think
see.
I'm going to fall prey to one of my follies. I think um, I'm just going to go ahead and rush right into this. I see the wild spirit just try and stand her ground. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that too. I'm just going to go right at them, guys. Let's do this. We can save everybody. And I'm just going to run straight at somebody's face, just like right at them.
So where there was this empty tension hanging in the air of these swords drawn,
And I'm
these
just,
weapons, these daggers, and there's a silence that falls over the vineyard in that moment. And then you just, Poppy starts sprinting, breaking that tension, breaking the divide, and we are now at beginning a violent conflict. Hawthorne.
Uh, I'm going
Hawthorne,
to
save us from ourselves.
she's just
I'm
like,
gonna
ugh.
I'm gonna fall prey to one of my follies too. Chide the foolishness of one. Does it count if it's two of your coven mates?
You can prioritize chiding their foolishness over solving the problem, sure.
Yes. So it's just like, what are you two
Absolutely.
we could have just ran away, and we could have like this is thief. Yeah, sorry, but you're really good at slippery fingers, but still.
I will say Jamie is gone. The
Okay.
second
So
conflict
literally
happened, Jamie
turns,
is
and then she's like,
gone.
"Oh, see, my point." Okay, so
That's all right.
this is not how we should be doing this. We should be running away. Are you serious right now? And she's just kind of going off at the moment. So, yeah.
So all three of you fall prey to your folly. I do ask, I'm curious. Well, I suppose I'm not because you are witches with magic. Despite falling prey, you didn't make this problem better, but you definitely kicked their asses. You 100% kicked their asses, not in a way that's going to reflect well on your future endeavors as a coven. But yeah, they ran home screaming.
They started it. Like,
Right?
like, we were just minding our business
Right.
in the vineyard. Yeah.
This was supposed to be a beautiful wine tour, and they ruined it. So
So that is a failure. But first, I want to give you all the wisdom you deserve because you did fall prey to a folly. So, wisdom in this game is given in just tarot cards themselves from the same deck. The number of wisdom is important. The higher the card, the more wisdom you gained, and the more you're able to spend to solve problems in the future. You will need triple the number of the challenge to solve that problem. So, with the 5 of Swords, you would have needed 15 wisdom. So I'll start because I have them out here. I'm going to start with the what is this? Magician, which is the wild spirit. Gets the 2 of Wands. You got 2 wisdom.
Boo. I caused so much violence. I deserve more than 2 wisdom.
I will say this is the deck decision, not mine. But Poppy, the Fool tarot card, you get the King of Wands with a king being a 13.
Rigged.
Favor.
hell yeah.
Hawthorne, you get the 5 of Cups.
Cool.
So you all have that wisdom. I have it on my table in front of me in case you need a reminder. But with that, you do fail the challenge. And failing a challenge is no small thing here. But it is fun in the context of the
In a
game's rules.
storytelling sort of way.
Yeah, it adds some spice. So when you fail a challenge, each member of the coven will choose one penalty from the 3 I will list out. You can choose the same one, and there are 3 options. You don't have to each pick one. The first one is to describe how the kingdom's ignorance, poverty, or despair becomes worse, and how the coven can tell, and then update the page accordingly. The second option is describe how the sanctuary's resources, friends, or wonders, one of them, is lost, desecrated, or destroyed, and then strike that from the page. And finally, you can worsen the underworld's claim over you on the underworld's page.
I'm leaning towards the loss of a friend, Jamie, with the eyes of Amber, because they just literally dipped.
Is Jamie
And
never coming back?
like it's either
I
like
thought we were close.
yeah, like
I
it's
can't
either that
believe
like
it's
she
on
felt
there.
that like, oh man, I dipped and I feel bad and I don't want to show my face anymore, or like we just are like, yeah, no, like you're not allowed back here.
Yep.
I don't know why you thought we would.
You literally bailed on us, guy.
So Jamie is now stricken from the sheet. That was Hawthorne's pick. Who else has one they'd like to select?
I figure that the kingdom's ignorance increases because rather than explaining to these people who we were and the situation we were in at the time, we were like, no, fuck you. So they learned nothing about us, nothing about the situation.
All right. So ignorance, poverty, and despair in the kingdom, they can go from 0, which is what they're at now, to 1, 2, or 3. If they go beyond 3, bad things happen. Now we're moving it to 1, and I will read what happens when you move it to 1. The kingdom is now at war with a neighbor. Name them. Who's from there?
I mean, I'm assuming it's the the big loud war machine. And it actually there are now
War
fully
was
into
not
war.
prevented.
Yep.
War
Not
has
at all.
started.
So
What's just quickly, whoever wants to name it, what's the name of this neighboring power?
Elmsdale. I don't know.
Done.
It's more
Good
of a
old
city name than a
Elmsdale
country name, but
Kingdom.
All right. Elmsdale, it's happening. And is anyone, either any of you or any of our friends from the sanctuary, from there?
Maybe that's why Jamie dipped, actually. If he was from Elmsdale and he didn't know we were part and parcel of this war machine thing, and he was like, "Whoa."
Yeah,
I'm out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see
he was
that.
mixed up in a little too much there.
hmm
All right, I'm adding the note to our page here so we can reference it. But Poppy, what what happens with you? What's your fail?
I think I'm also going to go the kingdom route. I'm going to add to the poverty. I think the war is costing a lot more money than originally anticipated, and I think these men that attacked us are just going to be the beginning of a long line of brigands being forced into fighting with other people to get the resources that are slowly being stripped away from the country to send to the war effort.
All right. So when the poverty's at 1, the question is who lines the streets? Pick one. Beggars, thieves, or orphans.
Thieves. I think we're at the
All right.
thief part. The longer the war goes on, the more orphans, but currently I think the thief level.
Excellent. So that's what happens when you fail one challenge.
That's cool.
So
I just have a quick mechanics question.
course.
Is that particular folly now stricken, or could I use that one
No,
again in future?
your follies never go away. The only rule when it comes to follies is don't use the same one twice in a row unless it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
These coven mates have like 7 follies, different options they can go around. They never go away. You actually end up adding more over the course of the game. And such is that way. So let's do our next challenge, why don't we? Hey, Knight of Swords. We're
What's
really in
going
our
on?
war plot.
so many swords.
It is war. Just like let's go.
Listen,
Yes.
the deck said
The card's new.
the deck did not come to play. We're in it. The Knight of Swords challenge affects the wild spirit. Hey, look, the kingdom is now at war with one of its neighbors. If it was already at war, it's fighting on 2 fronts. The wild
Cool.
spirit
Oh,
will
no.
write down the neighboring power's name. So there's someone on the other side of us who attacked at the same time, or we attacked at the same time. The wild spirit will write down the neighboring power's name, and the coven will each supply one detail about it. A foreigner from the neighboring state has fled onto the sanctuary's grounds, and a mixed mob of guards and angry common folk are demanding we turn over the spy. What do you do? If you solve this challenge with wisdom, you may add a friend to the sanctuary. So, first of all, Wild Spirit, what is the name of the other power we're at war with?
We're at war with Breris. Breris.
Excellent. I'm adding that here. And what are some details about Breris? And that's for Poppy and Hawthorne to answer.
This country is very small, and I think they're just above the country that is already attacking us, Elmsford. And I think they're joining the war with them because they've promised some land that will be taken from us, and they're real gung ho, but again, they're real little. But they have opened a second front, so that's never a good thing.
I would say that, like, I was going to say something similar along the lines of like, oh, they took the opportunity because we were at war with like, was it like Elmdale? Elmsdale, and they're like, oh, we're small, like this is our chance to like get resources, like take it because like this is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in vain? Who's to say? We'll see. But it's interesting. So I was going to say something along the lines of gaining resources from us as well as helping their efforts as well, or joining alliance on that end.
All right. So this kingdom of Breris has also attacked us. A foreigner from that neighboring state has fled onto the sanctuary's ground, and there are common folk and guards alike demanding we turn them over. What do you do? Now, if you solve this with wisdom, we can add this foreigner as a friend. This is a Knight of Swords, and I believe Knights challenges are 12 points of wisdom to solve. So Knights are 12, so it would take 36 points of wisdom to solve. Excuse me.
Don't think we have enough for that combined.
Oh, so close.
I don't think so. No. Old Soul's gonna fall prey to her folly, which is what was it? Exclaim her neutrality on this matter. So she's like, this is very sad indeed. I'm sorry about the situation that you found yourself in, talking to the person that has fallen to the ground, as well as the mob behind them. I was like, but this is all started just from proclaiming that we made a bigger, badder machine. Like, do you understand in like turning to her coven, like just even the thought of the assumption, a placebo magic of some sort gets people riled up this way. So no, I wash my hands of this.
And with Hawthorne stepping back from this, Madeline, Poppy, what do you do? Knowing you still only have
my power is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just you have two options of how to proceed. That is all I said.
I think I'm going to use some magic, because my power is best used as medicine, but I can also be used to pacify others. And I think I'm going to take this opportunity to just kind of calm this group down and assure them that this man is just here to escape the war. He's not here to cause any sort of harm to the group. Like, everyone's riled up. I understand emotions are running high, but everybody just needs to bring it down like 14 levels, because y'all are riling me up. And I think I'm gonna strike my angry bit. I think this whole situation is making Poppy really mad that she's being forced to be in this position in the first place. She's mad that everyone seems to be depending on them, and she's pretty new to magic still, so she doesn't understand really in any sort of real way why so many people are coming to them for the issues. And I think she's just mad and confused, and she's like, everybody needs to just calm down.
All right. So I will say this would theoretically be enough to solve the problem. Is the mob, instead of you taking in this foreigner, which with wisdom it's not really an option, you can make the mob leave and give the foreigner maybe a head start to get wherever they can get. But curious, Madeline, what do you do?
So again, I'm just mechanically curious. If Poppy is using magic to solve this, will Hawthorne still draw a wisdom card for falling to her
Yes.
folly? Okay, perfect. I am also going to fall to one of my follies then. And I am going to blame one of my coven mates for this. I am
That's
going
fair.
to
Fair
blame,
enough.
yeah, right. I'm going to blame Poppy for this because my original stance was that she should just make the war machine bigger, and we probably could have been through this war already if she had just done that. But here we are with this situation now.
So with Poppy, two of your coven mates either wandering off, not involving themselves, or directly blaming you, you strike your angry source and just calm everyone down enough where the individual who was begging to be let in notices what's going on and nods, understanding that they will not be allowed in, but they have a chance to get away. And you let them leave. So you do strike that source, but Madeline and Hawthorne do get some wisdom. So let's see here. Madeline, you get the 6 of Swords. So you get 6 wisdom. And Hawthorne, you get the 4 of Pentacles. 4 wisdom. And we move to our next challenge. Let's see what the deck has for us. All right, 9 of Pentacles. We're moving out of swords for a moment. All right. So, Old Soul, the circles around you. A tricksy denizen has been smuggling underworld liquors into the kingdom and selling them to mortals. The wild spirit, can you tell us what those liquors taste like?
They taste like pomegranate and smoke.
Ooh. Pure Heart, can you tell us their terrible side effects?
While they make you feel absolutely fantastic, like top tier fantastic while you're drinking them, you have the worst hangover the moment you stop drinking them. It's not the next morning, it's when you stop drinking it, like instant headache.
This actually ties well into the next sentence, which is worst of all, once drunk on these spirits, a mortal can never sober. So how can you prevent the kingdom from becoming a shambling mess? Now, this is a 9 challenge, so it will take 27 wisdom to solve with wisdom, but you may solve it with true magic if you like, or not solve it at all. How would you like to proceed? They took advantage of the war front to get some liquor in there.
Well, this is a bind. I don't even know how much liquor that was procured, or even how they procured liquors from the underworld. But
Well, they must have some kind of contact.
oh, that's also wonderfully worrying indeed. The only thing we can really do is either magic or get like we can't, like, the war front is a different thing. Like, we can't even supply or ask for resources to stop it in the first place. We don't even know who has it. And then probably like doing
Maybe
some.
maybe we should pool some wisdom and figure out who it is that's bringing this into the city, so we can kind of nip it in the bud that way. Because I think maybe this is something that the other side, like one of the other countries, is doing to mess with the local populace, and that's probably not good for the war effort. I don't want to see any more people suffer, so I think we should deal with it over there before it comes over here and becomes even more of a problem than it already is.
Quick thinking then. All right. What does our wisdom look like actually?
I've got 13 currently.
I have 8.
I have 9.
So
And it's
we
20.
need 27.
27.
27?
Ooh.
So math is hard. What do we have?
So it was 8 and 7. We have
Oh,
29.
Plus
Nine.
okay.
So 9 plus 8 plus you had 13, or?
Yeah.
Does math in my head quietly. That's 17
We
plus 13,
have
that's 30.
That's 30.
Right?
30 even. So we can solve
And
this.
you can't break a card up. So the only person who could, basically you could spend all of your cards and one of you keeps your 2. That would be Madeline.
Okay.
That would be how to do
That's
it.
fine.
So do you want to pull your
Sure.
wisdom? I'll use wisdom and try and solve this together.
Yep.
I think so.
It is a pretty big problem, so that's smart. All right, so you're spending that all up. I'm going to discard that for you, and you can strike it from your personal notes, with Madeline keeping a little bit of wisdom for herself. You do actually find out using wisdom that this not only is coming from the underworld, but a ploy from the other nations that you're at war with to get the citizens out of commission. And so when you do discover this, the suspicion that was held over the coven for potentially being either too close to the ministers in charge or even not close enough, no one seems to like you, has dissipated slightly. Nothing mechanical can happen, but you did find out a rather significant plot that was being done against your kingdom. So well done. Your next challenge, because they don't stop coming here,
Yeah.
is the 7 of Wands. All right. The Seven of Wands is actually directed at the person with the Moon tarot card. So who is that?
Oh, I believe that is me.
All right, Poppy. When you're alone for any small period of time, you find yourself attacked by one of your underworld menaces, which appears
Word.
only to you and which vanishes when the others inquire what is wrong. So what does the underworld menace you with? It's on your character sheet.
Withered limbs.
Oh, we did decide that limbs come out of various surfaces and creatures
Yes.
and plants and just smack you. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Randomly smack with old lady hands, just bam.
So withered limbs come out, and so the rest of the coven only sees the effect of this. So Poppy's red face, or maybe a yelp or a noise, but you haven't actually seen the limbs themselves. They come in and out too quickly. Now, the next part of this, you must discard a wisdom card or else strike a source.
Ooh.
You don't
Well,
have
I do
any
not have
wisdom
any
cards.
wisdom cards, so I will go ahead and strike a source. I will strike my healthy source. I think this has been going on for a while. Poppy is not only covered in bruises, but she's also stressed beyond belief because she never knows when the next hit's coming, and she's getting real paranoid. So I think she's not really healthy as such anymore.
All right. And you've been staying close to others, but the attacks are becoming increasingly disruptive to the coven's activities and are preventing you from sleeping or attending to hygiene. How can you stand on your own again? Now, this is a problem for the whole coven, but it does circle around the pure heart and can be solved in a few ways. Now, this is a 7, so would require, I have to multiply a lot of things times 3 in this game. 21 wisdom. And between the 3 of you, you have 2. So
Yeah.
how would you like to proceed?
Um, I would probably strike I fight for my friends because I do think Poppy is very much one of my friends, and whatever menaces her menaces me and menaces us.
So you're solving this with true magic.
Yes, please.
All right. I'm going to ask you how that's going to work, but I'd like to hear what the other coven mates, including Poppy herself, has in mind to solve this or not solve this.
I had wanted to I was gonna use magic, but I'm trying to see how magic would work because gravity magic and passing unseen. So with gravity magic, I would say that like anytime these limbs come out to attack her, I have a spell that is always active that will repel the hitting. It's still scary as all hell to have a hand come out, but she won't take damage from it, or it'll like automatically be repelled each time. Is how I would use my gravity magic to help her.
All right. And Poppy, what are you going to decide?
Well, I think in this situation, being the newest to magic, I think Poppy would really rely on her coven mates to help with this, because she has no idea like how to do this, what's going on, and just proving alone that this is going on is stressful enough to her. She doesn't really know what else to do in the situation.
So will you fall prey to a folly?
I think so. Yes,
Do you have one in mind?
I did. If I can get back to the page, one sec.
Of course.
Sorry, Abigail. Abigail is in the way, of course. So I'm going to use be thwarted by my inexperience.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as much as she wants to come up with a solution by herself so she doesn't have to bother her coven mates, she knows that there's nothing she can do but rely on her coven mates for this.
Yeah, if you could solve it
So
alone,
that's
you would have done so a long time ago. This wouldn't have
Mm.
been so constant. Hawthorne, what source are you striking?
I'm gonna be striking unsure because I feel unsure like using magic because I don't often use magic. I try to use other means as well as the knowledge of magic like potions, herbs, stuff like that, natural world things. But seeing that like okay, this is the one time to protect my coven mates to use it, I'm going to use it now. And it seems to be working. So, oh, okay. Maybe maybe I should use magic more often. I don't know. I don't know.
And I would like to also remind our coven that striking a source is the first of two things you can do to a source. So if you want to, you can blacken that same source. It just makes you a little worse. So that's up to you. Now, we have Hawthorne using gravity magic to use basically a force shield around Poppy. So the hits are coming out, and there's still a psychological effect of like flinching, but there's no actual damage. What is it, Madeline, that you are doing with your magic?
You said that they like retreat whenever they see us. So I imagine that Hawthorne and I work on some kind of gravity sword spell because Poppy's described these coming out of the walls at us, so it's entirely possible for a blade to just be released when her spell is triggered.
So there's basically a complex spell on Poppy that when a hand comes out, a force shield goes up to keep Poppy safe, and then the blade comes up and severs the hand. And that just keeps happening. That's amazing.
I love it.
So-
It's
So
fantastic.
this is why I relied on my coven. Like, I never would have thought of that. You guys are so much better at being witches than I am.
We got you.
Wherever
You'll
Poppy goes,
get
there's
there.
a trail of just severed hands. So amazing. And Poppy, you actually get some wisdom from all of this, learning how incredibly creative your coven mates can get with solving this problem. And you get the 4 of swords, so you get 4 wisdom. The deck is being a little mean with its numbers now, but
Yeah.
it really came out swinging.
It really is. Like, I was just like, geez, come on.
This is its second game of Wickedness. It was very nice in the first game of Wickedness, so
Yeah, this time now.
it was like, oh, we're streaming? I get it. So I'm gonna give us our next challenge then, see what it has to say. 3 of Cups. I also want to show how pridey this image is. Honestly.
Ooh,
awesome.
I love it.
It's very cute. All right, and the Cups challenges are more contained. You don't have to pick from the 3 options. It will simply tell you how to solve it or how not to. So for the 3 of Cups, it circles around the pure heart. Despite the coven's struggles, you're settling into an idyllic period of mutual company and support with minimal bickering. You may each describe a scene of care or comfort between the 3 of you, then draw a wisdom card. If you all enjoy one another's company without harm, you solve this challenge. Pretty easy one. The deck heard us. It's being nice now. That's like literally the nicest challenge you can
It was
get
like,
in
no,
this
no,
game.
I got you. I got you.
If you are happy, you win. So basically, let's have little vignettes. What's sort of an image or a small scene that happens in this period of idyllic comfort?
So, sorry, is it just like literally like, explain a scene of just us?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, give us a scene, give us an image of either the 3 of you or 2 of the 3 of you or something lovely, and then I'll give you a wisdom card when you do that. And if everyone enjoyed each other's company and nobody started fighting, challenge is solved.
All right, cool.
I know I'm dangling a large fate for the wild spirit. It takes one person who starts harm for this challenge not to work. So
Okay. I would say that like we're in like a common area where like probably the kitchen or where like the oven is or the stove. After coming up with an extremely creative spell, a layered spell to like stop these ghost hands coming from different areas from the underworld, severing them, us also cleaning up these severed hands. And it seems like they're slowing down. Hopefully, we'll see. Just having a moment of rest. So Hawthorne is probably making tea, probably chamomile tea of some sort, something meant to calm and soothe a little bit, as well as once she's like having that on the stove, going over to get like blankets, several layers of blankets, to give to Poppy, because it is also a cool night, I would say, or cool day. And just like not saying anything, not obviously like, yeah, I'm taking care of you, don't even trip. No, just like, right, it's like, here's your tea, here's your blankets, and then like quietly sits in a chair next to her, and pulls out a book and is trying to be cool, but probably is very obvious that, like, I actually do very much care about you and don't want you to like take the time you need to rest up because you're needed and I'm here. So come at me is the best way, like without saying, like, come at me. While like I'm just reading away.
Well, that's so
Super
sweet.
cute.
And it's that quiet comfort where you don't say a word, but it all just sort of occurs. Perfect for the old soul. Let me give you that wisdom card now, unless someone decides to fight in this moment.
Of
Yeah.
all the moments not to fight,
Roll,
even
roll the blankets off. Just come out swinging. No.
All right. Queen of Cups, that is 13. All right, who's next?
So I imagine that just before Poppy arrived, back when it was just Hawthorne and Madeline, there had been a lot of fighting leading up to it. But when we found out that we were, getting a new recruit, getting a new witch in our midst, I imagine there was a point where Hawthorne and Madeline didn't exactly sit down and hash it out, but sort of came to that quiet understanding that someone else was going to be relying on both of us. And what Hawthorne once did for me, giving me that comfort and that care and that learning, Madeline was also ready to take on that kind of challenge. And it may have even been a proud moment for Hawthorne, a moment where it looked like Madeline was growing up a little.
All right, so this is sort of a moment from the past
Mm.
of the two of them. I love that. Give us a little lore between them of before Poppy joined the crew. I will give you your wisdom. 3 of Pentacles. 3 wisdom. Poppy?
So I think kind of also going with the past route, I think when Poppy joined this coven, she was kind of like afraid of herself and the power that she had, and she didn't understand how to use it. And I feel like she's probably been alone in herself for a very long time. And these two really like reached out and made her feel accepted and made her feel like she could be confident in herself again. And she'd kind of forgotten what that was like. So she's just kind of surrounded um, by like a sisterly affection. And sure, sometimes we fight, sometimes we get wine drunk at 3 o'clock in the afternoon just for fun. But there's always that care, that family level care that was really missing for a lot of her life.
All right. Poppy, you get the Princess of Cups, which I believe is 11 wisdom. All right, and it sounds like we made it through without any major argument or bickering.
Yay!
So we succeed. Amazing as it is. Let's move to the next challenge. See what it has to offer. King of Cups. Another closed challenge, but of the highest caliber. Who here has the Star tarot card? All right. Madeline, a letter has arrived, addressed to the esteemed leader of the coven. On the count of 3, you're going to name who you think the leader of the coven is. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hawthorne.
Also,
I'm arrogant. I'm not stupid.
I was like torn between like, Madeline maybe is most like me. So,
Me, always me.
Do we seem to have all agreed on Hawthorne? Is that correct?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If it's unanimous, or if you each get 1 vote, everyone draws a wisdom card and the challenge is solved. And the next part is irrelevant. We did it. We all agreed that
Yay.
Hawthorne's in charge, and therefore we all get wisdom.
Didn't even think there was another option.
I was like,
The
And ain't me.
facilitator.
I don't honestly. This game is a 3-player RPG. I just thought it'd be easier if I was here. All right, Madeline, you get the 3 of Wands. The deck is really shorting you right now.
yeah, like,
It
what's
really
that
is,
about?
man.
Like-
You have a 3, a
Lots of
3, and a
threes.
2. Poppy, you get the 5 of Wands.
Okay.
And Hawthorne, you get the Queen of Pentacles.
Ooh.
This does actually track. Both of your wisdom cards are queens. That's amazing.
Must be nice.
throw a queen your way next time for Winston.
I can't get over the fact the deck was like, here's all the war stuff. Also, screw you, Madeline. Like, that is what.
It's almost like I caused this war in some way.
Who knows? All right, our next challenge. We just get to move on from that. The 8 of Swords. We're back to swords.
Yeah.
Wild Spirit.
Oh no!
Oh, no!
Oh no! So the deck is literally like, so we going in.
war's going terribly, isn't it?
Madeline.
All right, I'm going to read this with a straight face. I promise. Okay. Wild Spirit, you have been arrested and imprisoned in the castle's dungeons. The old soul will tell us what crimes you stand accused of. And I'll actually hold there. Old soul.
Sorry. I was like, guys.
Like, I'm so sorry on behalf of this deck.
I was like, damn, okay. So I'm gonna say Madeline has been, I was tempted to like have something to do with like the underworld, like alcohol, but I'm not gonna
It was me all along.
so I like something where like, oh yeah, I kept a little bit of it, and then like you like might have modified it so that it wouldn't have the after effects, and you were selling it to try to get some extra cash for us. But it's still banned because like regardless of the adjustments, it's still banned. And no one can tell, like, you know, like it's like no one cares. Someone still like ratted you out on that one. Like, oh yeah, one of the Coven Witches, like they're selling that stuff. Like people still don't like us, even though like it's pretty good liquor, and like now the effects don't matter. They still want to like slight you. So I would say it has something to do with that. Really smart, like work on changing the effects of it. People still suck.
Selling black market underworld liquor seems to be the case. Amazing. Pure heart. Now you get to decide whether Madeline is actually innocent and was wrongfully accused or not.
Oh no, she's guilty.
Excellent. Now, if the coven can clear your name or solve your legal standing, you solve this challenge. If you have to break out of jail, you fail. So what's the plan? It said it very carefully. There's a way to solve this properly, but you still have I know we've been in cups challenges for a bit. You still have those 3 options. And that includes Madeline. You also have options. Now this is a 8 of Swords, so 24 wisdom is required to solve it. You would either have to pull your wisdom, or technically Hawthorne can solve this on her own.
Yeah, so I was just like, I'm gonna solve it on my own. So Poppy, you can keep your wisdom on that one.
Right.
How much is it? 24?
24. You'd have to spend both your cards. There's no
Okay.
breaking into pieces.
I was wondering. I was like, I think. Okay, so yeah, both of them are gone. So I don't keep
Alright.
the queens for long anyway, so no worries. So I would say Hawthorne argues the case of like, yes, I know that it is banned, but can you imagine how much money that the kingdom can benefit from now that it's been modified the way that like Madeline has modified it? You can, it's a euphoric drink. It is a drink from the underworld, and it was meant to like keep people not sober forever, infinitely, and now it doesn't matter. Like, can't you see the benefit of this? We need money. We need money right before this war. The war has been stripping us all. Look at the streets, the thieves, orphans, unfortunately. we can like get that money back and replenish our kingdom.
The individual you're talking to at the one of the guards is willing to hear you out, in fact, and perhaps has interest in making this version of the liquor marked differently for clarity, so it can maybe not be illegal. There could be some law changes, but I actually am curious, Poppy and Madeline, what are you doing? What decisions are you making? Challenge is technically solved, so folly aplenty may be had.
Yeah, I'm gonna fall to my folly, underestimate the problem. Because, like, I get arrested pretty often, and it's never been, like, a big deal before. So, I'm pretty sure that they'll just let me go in the morning. I hope.
Hawthorne, while you're making your case, you could actually hear like a distant Madeline being like, "It's fine."
It's just
Don't
like
even worry about it.
you are misunderstanding what's going on here. You would have been here for weeks, months, probably.
I mean, is that any worse than that time I stole that herd of horses from that guy? He's like a king or something. I don't know.
I mean, that is kind of no. Actually, this is worse. This is worse. This is contraband. The thing that would like hinder us.
Poppy,
It's worse.
what do you do?
I think Poppy is very, very afraid for her friend and is going to fall to a folly of imperiling myself. I think she's going to go in for visiting hours with like the old file and a cake and be found out pretty quickly because that's just so cliche, but she doesn't know. It's fine. Just you can get out. Just carve your way out. It'll be fine. So I think she's probably going to get a stern talking to about it.
That's honestly perfect because Hawthorne, when you go down to the courthouse alone to make this argument, you get a couple guards have to come in because they have no power to change laws and stuff, and it goes up the chain. And you eventually get to the point where, yes, you can have Madeline be released, but it will require some paperwork on your front to, show off what this new liquor is, what the business is. You've sort of legitimized it, so now it has to be legitimized. You've given yourself a ton of extra work, and they finally say, okay, let them out. And you see Madeline and then Poppy right behind come out of the holding cell.
Hi.
What did you? It's solved. It's all solved. What did you do this time?
Nothing. It was. Don't worry about it. It was fine. Don't worry. It's. Don't worry about it.
Did you try to help her break out?
Maybe.
Help her break out?
Maybe.
Right.
Little.
Well,
Maybe.
you're out. Everything's fine.
Yay, you solved it,
Thank you for
Poppy!
bailing us out.
And with that, I will give the two of you your wisdom. Madeline, you get the 6 of Wands, your highest card thus far. And Poppy, you get the Knight of Wands, which I believe is a 12.
All right.
They were well rewarded for this. But with wisdom, the challenge was in fact solved. All right, our next challenge. Let's keep moving through this. 10 of Cups. We're back to the fun one. I love Cups challenges. This one is for the pure heart. You're going to tell the coven, pure heart, which of the kingdom's national joys you've never actually seen or participated in. We'll start there. They're marked in the kingdom section.
All right. One sec. Sorry.
I'll read them aloud, actually, your options. A grandiose palace,
Okay.
revelrous dance halls, a prestigious university, or historic architecture. We did decide this was a party college town.
Yes.
That's
I think
so.
it's just like Nom. I think Poppy has never really truly experienced any of the nightlife of this town. when her magic started kicking in, she felt pretty separated from everybody else at a time where she should have been doing shots. She was like hiding at the back, being real weird. So she's never really lived her life outside with people before.
Excellent. Now, the next part of this, the coven is going to plan a trip out from the sanctuary to show you this part of the national joy. It doesn't specify who, but I feel like we're going to know pretty quickly. One of the coven mates will tell you how important this is, and the other will warn you of how disappointing it can be. So, can I just
I wonder
say,
who it was who.
Madeline, how important is this when you're telling Poppy when you're walking over?
I mean, why would you even move here if it wasn't for the nightlife? Like, it is the lifeblood of our kingdom when we're not at war. But right now, it's still important. You know, it's where you go and you get all of that feeling out, the things that make you know that you're alive and that it's worth doing what we do.
And then what is mine?
The other coven mate will warn you how disappointing it can be.
Well, I have torn up a rug ever so often in the dance halls here. They are a little disappointing on their music choices. That is just me personally. The alcohol's cheap. The people there do not have rhythm whatsoever. So by all means, like, experience it. Have the fun you deserve. But I feel like you deserve so much more. It is extremely disappointing. They do not know what they're doing. They don't know what good music is.
I feel like that's almost a surprising response from Hawthorne, where you're expecting to be chided to be going to these dance halls. Hawthorne's like, it's just not that good. There are better ones.
There are better places.
Back in Hawthorne's hometown.
Yeah, back where we were, we lit up the skies with music, and the liquor was running forever. This is just measly.
The next part of the challenge. After you see it for yourself, Poppy, you will decide which of them was right and give them a wisdom card. And if the one of the other coven mates is swayed from their original opinion, they can also draw a wisdom card. Either way, you've solved the challenge. So, Poppy, what's your experience after you exit the dance hall?
Poppy is so pumped to be out cutting a rug, jigging her heart out. She's just real excited to be experiencing this with her two coven mates as well. And just like, I think Poppy is going to take this opportunity to rope Madeline into trying to bring Hawthorne out of her shell. Like, you were young once. You remember how fun this could be. Why don't we just get progressively drunk throughout the night and get progressively sloppier and just dance until dawn? I think that will really bind us as a group, you guys. Like, let's do this.
Yeah, I feel like we can really entice Hawthorne out by being like, well, then come on, show us how it's done.
Yeah, exactly. No, you say no one can dance? Show me how to dance. Maybe.
So it sounds like, Poppy, you're siding with Madeline's original opinion that this is really important and exciting. So, Madeline, you do get a wisdom card. The Four of Wands, continuing lots of small numbers here. Now, Hawthorne, here's my question.
I'm like wondering.
Were you swayed from your original opinion?
So I think, let's see. So I can see that, like, they're like, come on, like, show us how it's, like, especially the whole show us how it's done. It's just like, oh, are you like, I know what you're trying to do. I saw that. But fuck you, it worked. It's like, oh, they're trying to get me, but no, they're right. I could show them. So like what she does is like, it starts off with like not quite wallflower, but she's just like probably at a bar or something like that. Annoyed by talking to like the bartender who's like constantly trying to like either say something but failing, horrible at pickup lines, whatever it might be. And then the music changes. It's doing good on that one. She starts tapping her foot, and then it gets into like throughout her body. Her coven mates like pull her onto the dance floor, and she like shows what she's like experienced. She like glides across the floor. She sways. She like twirls, and it's amazing. And she's having a wonderful time. And she forgets all about, like, it's not where I came from. It's not the music that I'm used to, but this is actually pretty lit. That, and I'm also very drunk, so it could be better because of
Yes.
that.
The coven, super sloppy, enjoys the heck out of this dance hall. And Hawthorne, you do get a wisdom card. The Ace of Cups. Aces are ones.
Oh, ooh, there we go.
Now we're out there doing underworld shots.
Yeah.
Madeline probably brought a bottle of your good stuff. All right. Now that the coven is good and sloppy drunk, let's see what the next challenge is. Oh, the 10 of Swords. We're back to the war, y'all.
Don't
Well,
forget
we had a good night of
war.
fun, and now it's back to work.
It could be war, it could be conflict in general. It's directed at the wild spirit. An angry mob has unexpectedly surrounded the sanctuary and will soon breach the threshold if you do not act. The old soul, tell us, what is the mob's grievance?
Man, okay. I don't
I feel
want
like
to.
this is the next morning and y'all are super hungover. That's what I'm imagining.
Okay, so if that's the case, it's next morning, we're hungover. I'm gonna assume that we we were unhinged and used magic throughout like that whole time out. And we made more of a mess than we thought. And Hawthorne was not aware either. We had blasts. A lot of people did, but some people did not like the obvious display of magic either, as like rampant as it was. It was probably like cool but terrifying to a lot of people. And to tell us to like get our shit under control is essentially what that is.
Maybe the more serious members of the kingdom who know we're at war and you are caught out partying and just shooting out magic and showing off, they weren't happy. Oh, Pure Heart, whose face are you surprised to recognize among the crowd? Now you can go from the sanctuary's friends. We have some lists there. You could potentially see a denizen of the underworld. I do believe, if I remember correctly from the session 0, someone has a sibling. But
Oh, yes,
we
that's
can make
true.
up an NPC here and now. So who do you see in the crowd?
I think I am surprised to see, just kind of at the back, trying to pretend he's not there, but I see him there, is Felipe. I think he is mad that we were throwing around magic and not for him. I think he wanted us to work for him, but we're like, no, we don't use magic frivolously. And then now we're using magic frivolously to control the jukebox and make everybody just like feel a little drunker than they were, you know, like using magic for stupid reasons, not for war reasons, and he's mad about it. So he's trying to like see what's going on.
All right, and the last part is, how will your home survive this assault? Clearly brought upon by one of the kingdom's leaders. So it'd take 30 wisdom to get through this.
No.
Do I have enough
Hawthorne
for that?
has 1.
No.
Oh,
Just one. My measly ace.
Ooh,
Let's
that's
I
one
have
whole
32 wisdom, so we could technically get out of this.
Oh, you do?
I do.
I'm at 18.
Now you can choose to solve it with true magic instead. Just wave it away. Easy enough.
I would not. Like personally,
So,
if like the reason why
what
they're here is
folly?
because we use magic frivolously, and we're like, yeah, no, and then just stop it.
I was just gonna use more frivolous magic to fix it. All right.
I mean,
Seems
that
not
would
good.
be You're welcome. Do what you like. It's still early enough game. You can keep digging this hole for yourself. That's fine.
I'm gonna fall prey to one of my follies, which is fail to act until it's too late. So like she's hung the fuck over because the goal of her coven mates was to get her like sloppy drunk, and it worked. But of course, she's face planted into her bed and barely hears what's going on outside. And she's like trying to get up but cannot.
So with Madeline and Poppy, Hawthorne cannot be woken up. You just hear groans and sounds of general distress, but that's about all you can get out of Hawthorne at the moment.
So I figure that Madeline, being a pretty regular partier, is used to being hungover, but is aggressively unhappy when she's hungover, like one of those real nasty hangover people. So I'm perfectly fine with having Poppy solve it with wisdom as well, or instead if she prefers, but otherwise I would probably strike glorious. Because Madeline comes down like hair a mess in a bathrobe out to like the front part where she can look out over everyone and is just like, are you fucking kidding me? It is 8 a.m.
Are you simply intending to use magic as like an intimidation, just get them scared off?
Yeah, I figure if magic got us into this, then more overt aggressive magic can get us back out.
Righteous.
Fair enough. And with that use of true magic, the problem is solved. Now, Poppy, you can try and salvage some of the relationships here by using wisdom. But if you simply want to fall prey to a folly, gain some of more wisdom, the final challenge of this game, which I cannot say much of, does require you to be quite wise.
True. Yeah, I think Poppy was about to try and rationalize what was going on last night when Madeline just like came down the stairs and was like, nope, everybody, nope, absolutely not. So Poppy just kind of stepped back and let her do her thing, and seeing that everybody was sufficiently scared off, I think what I'm probably going to do is you know what I'm going to do? Poppy was like ready to do this, and Madeline just kind of stole her thunder. She was just like, nope, 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 I got this. So I'm going to go sulk in frustration, and which lets me draw 2 cards, but I will be physically absent for the next challenge because I'm off sulking.
Ooh. So Poppy storms off, gets 2 wisdom, but yes, you will be, and that is very important, physically absent. You will still be able to make a move if you'd like to solve or not solve, but you can't physically be there. All right, so that problem is solved. They were scared off, and you don't see Felipe. No one is bothering you at this moment. Now, Hawthorne, you do get some wisdom from this. You get the 8 of Pentacles. And Poppy, you get 2 wisdom cards. You get the 9 of Cups and the 6 of Cups. You got 69. You got a 6 and a 9.
Nice.
Both of which have hearts on them. Very cute. Oh, I put them in the wrong pile. This is Poppy's pile, which is big.
Poppy's the wisest of us all.
Learning from the best.
Yeah, Hawthorne.
Our next challenge.
Choose to like face plant and not wig.
The King of Pentacles. The highest level challenge on the Pentacle side of things. Deck is going hard. This is for the old soul. The kingdom's leaders have redoubled last year's taxes, and your coven must pay dearly, as the rest of the populace. How will you fend off the tax collectors, and is there any way you can help your fellow subjects? If you solve this challenge with wisdom, you may lessen the kingdom's poverty or add a resource to the sanctuary. Now, Poppy is physically absent during this, so Poppy's nowhere to be found. Stormed off. Hasn't been seen since.
So, like, it's either solve it with wisdom or...
It's the same 3 options: wisdom, true magic, or folly. But if you do happen to solve it with wisdom and you're able to, you can either lessen the kingdom's poverty, which is at 1. We can take those thieves off the street. Or you can add an extra resource to your sanctuary.
Like, not with my wisdom. Like, it's just because it's a king.
With the king, that is 13 tripled, so that's 39.
Okay, no. I don't got that. Um,
So I'm not physically there, but like I can still do stuff,
Yeah.
right?
You would have to just
Okay.
make that work. It sounds like you may be able to solve this on your own, given the pile of cards I see in front of me on my desk.
I can and I will. I will solve this with wisdom. I have a great
So
plan.
I think something's
Oh.
happening that the other two coven mates don't currently know is happening, correct? You are working elsewhere, potentially. So I'm curious, Madeline and Hawthorne, what you choose to do. Knowing or not knowing, perhaps, that technically this challenge is solved.
I am gonna fall to a folly and do more harm than good. Um, so I'm going to flood the market with this booze that I make, with the assumption that, you know, if we're selling more, then there's more money being made, which is basically the same thing as taxes anyway. But all I'm really doing is now flooding our kingdom with alcohol.
Amazing. Hawthorne.
I'm gonna also fall prey to one of my follies. Dispense unsolicited advice, communicated poorly. And it's just like probably still hungover. Like this was a rough night. Never
Oh,
doing like
man.
I'm never doing this again.
You
Just
liked it.
I did. I'm not just so just money drawer over there and envelope sent and you're good. And then she goes back to her
So Hawthorne
Money drawer, you say?
is told about the situation and gives the responsibility to Madeline, who floods the market with booze and just makes the coven a ton of money, but doesn't necessarily solve the problem. And gets the, populace quite drunk. Now, Poppy, what is it you're up to?
Seeing what's going on, seeing all this booze hit the market, gives Poppy an idea. Poppy is going to bring this this booze that everybody seems to really like to the attention of the Merchants Guild, and through them, get this legalized, get this taxed, get this booze through through the government, and like this is like now the official drink of the government, and it's all taxed, and we're going to raise the taxes on all the booze, and that's just going to take care of it, everybody, because everybody likes drinking. You can pay like another 5% on top, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be okay. Everyone's going to get taxes that way instead, because nobody's going to stop drinking. They're going to continue to drink. May as well get some profits from it for the government.
All right,
I feel like Poppy knew exactly what Madeline was gonna do and was already one step ahead of this.
I literally already wrote it down.
So I feel
if it
like
works
Madeline,
for Prohibition, it'll work for us.
When you go out to flood the market, you get word that someone's just telling you, well, yeah, one of you got this all figured out. Like, aren't you, in what your coven's doing? And you find out that Poppy had preempted all of this and got you all a necessary, potentially a tax break or just goodwill within the kingdom, and dodged the increase. Now, this is sort of a math thing, but Poppy, you do need to spend 30 points, but you have to spend full cards. So do you have any left over?
That's a good question.
You got to run the numbers. And in the meantime, actually, while you're doing that, Hawthorne, your wisdom.
Yes.
Yes.
For continuing to be hungover, you get the 2 of Cups.
Yes. Yay, just 2.
And Madeline, the Queen of Swords. Which
Trying to
is
get those
13
queens.
points.
Hey.
13. Nice.
So I will use a couple of my cards. I'll spend 1 extra point that I need, which leaves me with an 11 and a 5.
So the 5 of Wands and your 11 is the Princess, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to say that's true. So I'm going to spend the rest of them out of your pile, just so I can track. And the problem is solved. we move on to the next thing. But you are now physically present again. You return to the coven victorious. Ah, yes, the Queen of Wands is our next challenge. The last queen in the deck being presented here. The Queen of Wands is for the old soul. Oh, this is amazing.
Oh, cool.
Damn, this deck is so good. You have not left your bed in 3 whole days.
What the fuck did I drink?
We got you so drunk.
It actually here says, and you say that your underworld menace is present with you, waiting for you to die so it can take your soul to the underworld.
That's a bad hangover. Dang.
Hangover. What is your underworld menace? It's in your character.
Oh wait, where is that? Is it on the sheet?
Yeah, your character tab on the top.
Okay.
It's one of the 4 things you decided at the beginning.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so a shadow overhead.
Okay, shadow overhead. So your room is dark, and you can see this like it looked like a leaky ceiling at first, but it's getting darker, and it's just waiting to take you. And unfortunately, none of your other 2 coven mates can see it with the naked eye. How can the coven get back to its old business again? And if you solve this challenge with wisdom, you, Hawthorne, may recover a stricken source, but not a blackened one. So, Coven, Hawthorne, it's been 3 days. And Hawthorne is only getting worse. In order to solve this with wisdom, it would need to be a 39 points.
Uh-oh. We have enough for that? I think we do, actually.
I have 31 right now.
Yeah. I've got 16, so we could.
I have an idea.
Alright.
Because I would love y'all to save your wisdom, but also you don't know what I'm getting ready to do, so entirely up to you. So I am going to use magic. So like out of my sleep, I see the shadow hanging overhead. I'm getting angrier. I'm feeling a little bit more hostile over time. Like, oh, I'm not fucking with this. This one moment I had fun with my clan mates, like my coven mates. Like I had a blast of a time. And my one moment of weakness, you come overhead. So she's kind of like 3 days worth of getting pissed. Yes, hungover, but pissed. So she's going to use. She's going to use a spell to pass unseen to this entity, whatever it might be. So whenever it comes through, it never senses her presence ever again. But in doing so, I am going to blacken Harmless and replace it with Shadow Riddled instead.
Interesting. Ooh. So yeah, you are passing unseen permanently to this menace that you have. So I think it changes a little bit of how you look.
Yes, I bet. So I'm going to say that instead, because I'm going to say it's similar to how I'm looking now, like hair always in a bun and stuff like that. It just always seems like her hair is like now probably out in a ponytail, or it's going to just be out in general. Thank you. And it's just always flowing, and it just seems like from where her hair is, it's long. Just every part of her just seems like you might see extra shadows, or between like the locks of her hair, you might see shadows that are moving and whispering and stuff like that. But when you look at her directly, you don't see it. It just looks like Hawthorne a little bit. Her clothing is already black, but it seems that like her makeup choices might adjust as well. But she seems fine. She seems okay. Just her like different choice of like attire, like hair. Like it's like kind of loving it a little bit, not as uptight maybe. So yeah.
The hangover brought you back a little bit darker, a little gother. But better overall maybe. Now for the other 2 coven mates, you can still solve this problem with wisdom if the 2 of you together can make that number. And help Hawthorne recover a different stricken source. Not the blackened one, unfortunately. Or you are welcome to fall prey to a folly and gain that wisdom from it.
I think I'm gonna fall prey to a folly instead.
All right.
I think that I am going to escalate the hostility between the Coven and another faction by blaming the underworld for this and being like ready to take the fight to them, because if they're gonna fuck with Hawthorne, then they've got another thing coming.
I love it. Oh my god.
Excellent. Poppy, unless you can solve this on wisdom just with your own cards, you're pretty
I
limited
definitely
here.
cannot. I think Poppy is also going to use a folly. I think I'm going to be thwarted by my inexperience again with this. Poppy really wants to help, but she does not know how to help. She keeps coming up with weirder and weirder suggestions, and none of them are panning out, and she's getting really frustrated, and she just gives up because she doesn't know how to help.
So the wisdom, let's see here. Madeline gets the Princess of Pentacles. The princess is, I believe, 11. Yes. And Poppy, you get the Princess of Wands.
Ooh,
Another 11.
hell yeah.
Now, I was going to say this next one would be our last challenge, but I almost love that we end this portion of the challenges on Madeline saying, hey, Underworld, fuck you.
I do too. Just like, you fuck with Hawthorne, you fuck with all of us.
And I feel like we should move into our fates now. So this plays in 2 acts, everyone. And at the end of Act 1, we start looking at our inevitable fates. Does that feel good to the rest of you all?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, you're normally supposed to play
Yep,
till the
absolutely.
deck is completely out of cards, but this is how much deck we still have left, so we're not doing that. We will not be doing that today. So now we're going to talk about the inevitable fates here. Now, just to explain, during our session 0 a few days ago, our coven were given a number of tarot cards. They were given sort of a reading that they have on their character sheet, which is going to determine a lot about where they end up. They don't know what these cards mean, but they know which cards they have. So what we're going to do is let's just go in seniority order. Old Soul, below the star, moon, or sun, whichever one of those you have, there's one below that. What is it? I think it's your third.
Are you talking about like the genre of magic? Or are you talking about the fate?
The tarot cards at the top. So at the very top of your sheet.
The High Priestess? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, sorry, the one below that. Sorry, not your genre.
Okay,
what happens at the first
the
deck?
Devil.
You labeled yours. Yes,
Yeah,
you have the Devil. So if you want to go into where we're keeping our materials here, there is a tab called Fate, the Devil. Would you care to read it aloud and find out what your fate is here after Act 1?
Okay. Ooh. Here we go. A denizen of the underworld, a player of my choice will tell me whom, has offered to teach me the secrets of my true potential. If I agree to their training, I will strike the 3rd source from the 2nd line of my sources and gain a new folly. Lose control over forces not meant for me. Then I'll claim the card beneath this one as an extension of my power.
So each of these coven mates also have a boon that they would receive if they accepted this offer. So basically, it's an offer. You can study with a denizen. Now, what is this denizen? Who is it? Who do you wish to have that revealed to you? Which coven mate? Hawthorne? Or which player, I suppose.
Oh, 1 second. So
the player of your choice.
Player of my choice. Okay. I'm gonna say the Pure Heart.
All right,
All
Poppy.
right.
Which underworld denizen? You can look at the denizen types. We only have one specific denizen created at this point. Hannah.
I think one of the envious doppelgangers is who I'm gonna choose.
Is it Hawthorne's doppelganger? Is it another coven mate's doppelganger?
Hawthorne's doppelganger.
All right. You were approached after you've shaded yourself from the menace of the underworld. Your doppelganger found you and instead offered you to expand your power. You would lose a source and you would gain a new folly. Now think about whether or not you want to take this offer, and we're actually going to move to Madeline. What card was drawn for your fate?
The Lovers.
Go ahead and take a look at that.
An admirer has been hinting that they would like to start a family with me. With me. The domestic, strictly mortal kind of family, which can't be built in a sanctuary of magic forever on the brink of crisis. If this is something I want, I'll strike a resource, friend, or wonder from the sanctuary, then add my family to the second line of my sources. If I do, I'll claim the card beneath this one as an extension of my power.
So a player of your choice is going to tell you, who is this admirer? Now, which player?
I will have Hawthorne choose.
Oh, okay. So is this like from
just you're basically creating an NPC or a character who might be a good match for Madeline, someone who's been sort of pining after Madeline.
Okay. All right. So when we went out and partied, there was a wallflower that was like also like very studious kind of dude, very like you were able to get him out in dancing, but he tends to be more on the studious side, the more university side of the party college. And not only getting me to dance, you like, no one like Hawthorne should ever be a wallflower. You need to come on out and show who you really are. And you were able to get this person to come out and dance and like let their hair down, so to speak, is the best way to put it. And after that night, you kind of brighten their eyes and they weren't able to stop thinking about you. Still studious, still kind of like level-headed, but like willing to have fun ever so often and realizing what they might have been missing. So kind of wanting to go see you at the sanctuary every so often, but also like, oh, I was just curious, like magic, what's that about, and then like leaves every time. And then it's just like, so keeps on like trying to, it was like, oh yeah, it's good. So sword magic, what's that about, and then like trying to have a conversation with you.
What's that?
And
Madeline, you found yourself a nerd.
you found yourself a nerd.
What's this character's name? What Hawthorne? What's this character? What's their name? Yeah, pull me a name out of thin air.
For you, of course. I'm going to say Ace is their name. Like they go by Ace.
Ace.
Is what they
amazing. So think about whether or not you want to accept this boon, this offer. Poppy, what was your card?
I had the Emperor.
All right, you can read your fate for that.
One of the kingdom's leaders has half invited, half commanded me to come to the palace and serve as court magician. The position comes with prestige and influence, but will require me to be away from the sanctuary and coven, often for long periods. If I agree to take up the position, I'll strike either myself or my friends from the second line of my sources, and claim the card beneath this one as an extension of my power. I'll also keep the Emperor Arcana, which I can use in place of wisdom to solve any Pentacles or Swords challenge with my influence at court. But if I do, I'll put the Emperor back in the box.
So it doesn't seem like there's anything that has to be decided about this. You are simply summoned, and I feel like this might have been because of your wise solution with the taxation thing. Like you were noticed, and I do have the Emperor here to give you as a wisdom card. But we're actually going to go back to Hawthorne here now. Are you going to accept your offer to have your doppelganger teacher? Yes, amazing.
Yes. So letting her hair down, literally and figuratively, as well as realizing that like she can do so much more with her magic. Maybe if she learns something else, she will be able to use magic without losing herself. But we'll see if that actually happens or not. So yeah, I would say that she was taken.
So what you need to do is then strike the third source on the second line, which for you is I see the value in the company of others.
That makes sense. That's unfortunate, but that makes sense.
And gain a new folly. Lose control over forces not meant for me. There should be a space to type that on.
Yeah, let me put that in.
And then you're going to claim the card beneath that one as an extension of your power. So I'll ask you while you add that new folly, if you could look at the top of your sheet and tell me what card is beneath your fate. What's written beneath the devil?
Got you.
I'm asking you to do a lot, and I understand.
No, you're fine. The Temperance?
Temperance. You get to, so these boons are actually a new magic type that you now have control over. So Hawthorne has gravity magic that she received from a tarot reading here in Next Session 0. You now gain an option between balance magic and water magic. This is what you learn in the underworld.
Balance magic? That seems very similar to gravity magic. That's why I was just like, I'm going to say water magic then, for sure.
Okay. You gain water magic, which works, I think, because it's a mirror. It's like the mirror surface of the water. Water theme. All right. Madeline, this lover has been courting you for quite some time. Are you going to accept the offer?
Oh, honey, no. No.
Damn.
All right. So you don't gain an extension of your power, and actually beyond that, nothing happens. Do you have any desire to know what your options would have been for your boon, or do you want to move on?
I'd love to know what I gave up.
Sure. What was the card beneath the lovers?
The card beneath the lovers was the Empress. Crap, I'm gonna regret this.
You would have gotten either earth magic or celebration magic.
Damn.
Oh man, you could have thrown the coolest parties. Dang.
Right.
I just get streamers on command, glitter everywhere.
When you turn down
not a
Ace,
problem.
when you turn down Ace, they like look just absolutely devastated and drop a bunch of books from the Arcana library that's being kept. Not many people practice magic, but there is some study, and you can see these like party spells that they had been studying as like an offering to you of learning about all of these things, and then grab the books and runs, and you never see them again, at least at this point. Poppy, are you going to follow the summons of the kingdom's leaders? This seems like the entire like group of ministers has summoned you. Very official.
Yeah. I feel like at first Poppy is 100% against this idea. It sounds like either a trap or too good to be true, or something's going on. But I think the more she thinks about it and the state of the kingdom and what the bigger picture is, I think that she will go to the palace and just kind of work out of there, so she can keep a closer eye on everything, as well as just kind of like try and understand more of what's going on, what the bigger picture is, in hopes that she can make sure that her friends are all right. Even though I do have to strike my friends off of my list, but she's still thinking about them. It's just not 100% all she cares about now. I think the bigger picture is more what she's concerned about with the kingdom.
Poppy's entering politics right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Poppy for president, 2024.
So you're going to strike that source, and you also claim the Emperor, which I'm going to add here to your wisdom cards, and you can add as a note where you're keeping your notes about that. And it can simply solve a pentacle or swords problem with wisdom, just using that single card because of your political power. So what is the card beneath the Emperor card in your tarot reading?
The Hierophant.
Hierophant. Okay. You have an option between key magic or fire magic.
Ooh. Do I want to be Zuko? Maybe. It's a good question.
I feel like,
Sorry,
honestly,
key magic?
the track you're on is pushing you more towards Azula. I feel like I know it's not strictly fire.
How dare
but
you
yeah,
be so correct?
fire or key.
Um,
Those are your theming options.
sorry, key magic you said, right?
Yes.
I think I'm gonna go with key magic.
Honestly, it's a cool idea.
I think that might be more useful in the palace where I'm trying to like see what's going on, to just kind of be like, oh, what's that door unlocked? I can go into anywhere I want now. I think that might be more useful for me.
Yeah, you've been
Even
given access
though
to a lot.
I do also want fire magic, but I'm gonna go with key magic.
Just means you got to play the game again, see if you can get it. Those were the offers, and now we have one more thing we need to do before we end Act 1 here and take a quick break. But first, there's a tab here at the end. It says End of Troubles question. It's the one right before the finale. It just has a list of questions. Everyone is going to need to ask one of the questions to each of the others. So starting with, you're going to ask one question each, essentially. Starting with the sun. Oh, you have to, no, it's two questions each. You're asking one of each of the others. It's very quick. Who has the sun tarot card? So Hawthorne, ask one of these questions to each of your coven mates. And they get to obviously answer them.
Man, okay, some of these are deeper than I thought.
Yeah.
Is this really what you want?
And this is who you asking it to.
Oh, so I have to ask one question to. I thought it was like one. Okay, I'm gonna ask that to Poppy. Is this what you really
sorry,
want?
what was it? I don't think it's what I really want, but I know it's something that needs to be done. I think that Poppy trusts her coven, but she definitely does not trust the ministers, and being on the inside is probably going to be better than being forced to make an object of war, or being forced to use our magic at the will of him whenever he wants. At least this way she can kind of control what's going on and see what's coming up, what needs to be addressed in the future. So it's not what she wants, but what she needs to do, or what she feels that she needs to do anyway.
Great. And Hawthorne, your second question?
Was it an easy choice to make?
I'd love to say that it wasn't, but it really was easy.
Well, by all means. They were adorable,
All right.
but okay.
And so to move to the next person, who has the moon?
That's me.
All right. Ask your questions.
So I think for Hawthorne, I'm not very familiar with the underworld as much as my two contemporaries probably are. So I think I'm gonna ask if it was an easy choice to make to deal with someone from the underworld.
It is never an easy choice to deal with the underworld in any capacity. But I've had that shadow looming over me for years. It's one of the reasons why, besides my mentor, why I've been so strict on myself and you both. Because these things will haunt you. They'll stay with you. Similar to the slapping hands, even though we used our magic to help you. Y'all couldn't see this problem, and I would like to solve this on my own. I don't know what will happen at the end of it, but it wasn't easy, but it had to be made.
Your second question, Poppy.
I think for sorry, please let go of my lace. Thank you. I think for Madeline, I'm gonna ask how you can just give up what is clearly someone that cares so much about you. Like, how could you just leave them?
I think if they cared that much about me and they knew me that well, they would have already known my answer couldn't be yes.
That's very fair.
All right, Madeline, your questions.
To Hawthorne, looking at her in this new light and this new way and this new power, are we holding you back?
God, these deep ass questions. Hold on.
These are the kind of games I run.
Love it, man.
Love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say yes or no to that. Yeah. Once I learn what I need, I'll let you know that answer.
Ice
And-
cold.
And your second question.
To Poppy, of course. How could you bear to leave us?
Was definitely a very hard decision for Poppy to make, and I think she had to rationalize it to herself, that you were still there. If she wanted to go and see you, she probably could. I'm sure that you could come and visit her. She'd probably clear with the guards, but just knowing that you were there and available gave her enough of a security blanket that she could leave. And I think if it was like 100% I'm never coming back, it would have been a very different answer that she had to everything. But just kind of that knowledge of I'm doing this for the good of my friends, for the good of the kingdom, really helped.
All right. And with this new fate brought upon the coven, before we move on to the trials, which is our final act here, which will lead us to the finale, however this will end, good or bad, let's take a quick break. we are coming into Act 2 of this game, Wickedness. Just to remind you all, Wickedness is a game that follows a coven of 3 witches as they solve various challenges presented to them by a tarot deck. So we've been facing a good number of challenges. I say we. You have been facing a good number of challenges here as a coven and handling them relatively well, despite the deck clearly having favorites and least favorites among the coven. With essentially Poppy, the pure heart, scoring the best magical internship possible. Hawthorne gaining just endless knowledge from her doppelganger from the underworld who approached her with this deal. And Madeline just getting relentlessly bullied by the deck and had to turn down a pesky suitor who was interested in taking her away from this magical life. So we jump back here into Act 2, where the structure is mostly the same. These witches will be faced with challenges that they must try to overcome, although they do have another option of how they may solve that. And we'll address that if it comes up. So let's just jump into our next challenge. Oh, perfect. Queen of Cups. The cups are the contain challenges that the answer's sort of within them if you behave correctly. Who is the star? All right, Madeline. If the 2 other coven mates have the same number of struck sources, actually, let's just start there. How many struck sources, Hawthorne and Poppy, do you have?
I have 2.
2?
4.
4.
Oh man.
All right.
That's funny because I have 3.
Oh man, I love that. So I'm skipping this whole thing. You won't know what this is. If one coven mate has more struck sources than the other, they'll both strategize on how to restore that. And if you can spend 13 wisdom between the 2 of you, those of you who are not Madeline, the source is recovered. Otherwise, the challenge is failed. So essentially, you are trying to figure out, it says source, but it seems that you 2 are uneven. One of you has been using far more magic than the other. So if you manage to spend 13 wisdom between the 2 of you with what you have, I believe, Poppy, you can unstrike one of your sources. Maybe even 2, because it does say it wants you 2 to be even. So I'll say I'm the facilitator. You can strike 2 of your sources, half or unstrike. Half of them can be recovered if you can spend 13 wisdom between the 2 of you. It just seems like Madeline did not get involved in this one.
Yeah, Madeline was like, skip.
Nope.
You're doing fine. It's the person who had the most number of strike sources and the person who had the least. We're getting them even.
I'm just busy keeping the castle or whatever we have in order since you 2 have so much work to do elsewhere.
Well,
I know
think
Madeline's
probably-
stuck at home.
Yeah.
And
no.
this is not solved normally either.
She's
You don't have
pet-sitting.
your 4 options. This is simply, can you spend 13 wisdom between the 2 of you?
Well, I think Poppy has been using her magic quite often, and I know Hawthorne does use magic, but also likes to rely on herbs and just common sense more so. She's had more experience dealing with this with a lot more intricate things than Poppy has, whose first instinct is just magic. I got it, no problem. So I think probably using my wisdom, I think I'm going to go to Hawthorne, take a little day trip away from the palace, and try and get a little bit more knowledge about how to solve certain problems without using magic, trying to use something other than just her first instinct.
All right. So I know, Hawthorne, you don't have enough wisdom to do this on your own, but the 2 of you do have enough. I suppose it's really who spends what of each.
That's a good question.
I think I will just take the hit on this myself. I think I'm going out of the way to try and get some wisdom, so I should use it myself and let Hawthorne keep hers.
Okay. Are you spending your 2 princesses to get, or I suppose you just need to give a princess enough 5, right?
Yeah. So I'll just stick with the 11.
Okay. So you're left with an 11 and the Emperor as your wisdom. All right. And Hawthorne, you didn't have to spend anything. It's almost as if you notice that there's maybe Poppy's working a bit too hard. Maybe Madeline knows this is too. And before you say anything, Poppy takes care of it and goes out and finds like easier and more sustainable ways to use her magic. The independence Poppy is displaying here is very interesting.
Yeah, so it seems a lot like try to take me out, like, oh, let's have this conversation, and then just kind of like use me as a sounding board. So every time I was getting ready to give advice, Poppy's like, actually, that's a really good point. Da 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 da. And I'm like, I did not say anything actually, but yes, that is a good point. And then like Poppy would just like, so yeah, I was like, okay, so seems like the problem solved itself, even though I didn't say anything. And I was like,
There was an
and then
entire
Reeves was like, yeah,
scene.
right, okay, cool. And
The
then
entire scene transpired with like you saying nothing. It's just Poppy monologuing, but acting like it was a two-person
Yeah.
conversation.
yeah, and then just like, thank you so much.
I needed you there for the moral support.
Like, thank you so much. This is really helpful. And then Poppy just leaves.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna say, use my folly, fail to act until it's too late, and then like my Poppy leaves.
I will say you don't need to use your folly here. In Cups challenges, those options aren't actually available to you at all. So really what just happens is a challenge presented itself and then was solved, and all you did was stand there.
Okay.
And that was sort of the case with Madeline as well. It's just like Poppy had a problem and solved it completely on her own, and pretty much.
Like, proud of her. And she like walks off. I was like,
it's also probably the first time you've seen Poppy in a while since becoming the court magician. Poppy's like, here, I have this problem, and then works it out entirely on her own and then leaves.
It's like, okay. Goodbye.
Hey, Hawthorne, you're so full of wisdom.
Our next challenge. The Queen of Pentacles. For the old soul. A merchant wishes for our coven to cure their relation of a mysterious illness. Sorry, I'm fighting through my own typos here. The wild spirit. What is the victim's symptoms?
Exhaustion, malaise, just a total inability to get up and face the day.
And Pure Heart, what is the cause of this mysterious illness?
I think it was some sort of pollen in one of the parks around. He was going for a stroll and found a beautiful purple flower, and unfortunately it was a purple flower he should not have sniffed.
All right. So, what's the best treatment you can administer? And if you solve this challenge with wisdom, you may add a new resource or friend to your sanctuary. Now, this is for everyone. We're back to our normal challenges now. So you have the 4 options.
I'm gonna blacken my friends here. Because I feel like seeing this family come forward and like actually trying to help this person is really just showing me the fact that I gave up a marriage proposal to stay here with my family, and they both were like, bye, and went off and did what was important to them. So instead of fighting for my friends, since it's blackened, I'm going to replace it with fight for my ego, because that's what I have left.
Okay, and in doing so, you do solve this with true magic. But before we narrate that, I'm interested in what Hawthorne and Poppy do.
I'm not sure. Like, I am leaning towards my folly, to be honest, of I don't like that it's exclaiming neutrality on the situation, but that's literally what she's doing, because she just saw Poppy come in, solve a problem by herself, trying to use her to like give advice, but didn't need any. Does not, and also remembers, even though we've all come together as a family, Madeline rarely taking her advice and always doing things on her own. It's just like, I feel like y'all have this one. I think you're
right.
good.
And Poppy, what is it you do?
I'm also going to go the folly route. Actually, no, I'm not. I think. Hmm. Man.
If you think you may fall
Yeah,
prey to a folly, yeah, go
I
ahead.
think what I'll do is. This is really tough. I want to fall prey to a folly, but none of them really fit.
If you want to try and learn
Okay,
from the
maybe.
past,
Okay,
you
I'll do
could pick
this.
a folly that might work.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. So I just choose which for this?
So if you're learning from the past, which is the new option, you can pick a folly that you might actually have fallen prey to, but what do you realize that makes you not want to do it? Or even just like what makes you realize you don't need to fall prey to that folly. You can cross out that folly and recover a stricken source. But it actually doesn't solve the problem. You learned a little bit more about yourself. That's an option.
Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is the folly is be thwarted by your inexperience. And I think she's been around the block a little bit now. She knows a little bit more than she used to. So she does know how to deal with this. Not a problem. I got this. Don't worry about it, guys. So I think I'm gonna use that, I think.
Okay. I think that works since you used it a good amount in Act 1. Now you're in charge. You don't need that inexperience. You have experience. So you can recover a stricken source and cross out that folly. You're no longer going to be thwarted by your inexperience.
All right.
Hawthorne, you're going to get your wisdom here, a 5 of cups for you. And Madeline, how do you solve this with true magic?
Well, I have sword magic, which seems notably unhelpful in curing someone of their issues. So I know one really super good cure for the general malaise and depression, and that's getting drunk. So I'm going to pretend this alcohol I make is absolutely a potion treatment, and I used magic to make it not bad, so it's magic. And that's how I'm going to help this sick person with alcoholism.
You know?
Works for me, baby.
It solves
Do what
the
you gotta.
challenge. Let's move to the next challenge. We'll just move right on from that one. Next is the 4 of Pentacles. We're staying in the same category here. The wild spirit once again, Madeline. An official from the kingdom's treasury believes that the coven is withholding taxable income from the crown. We're back to taxes, everyone. Pure heart.
They're taking your booze money away from you. It's just rude.
Right?
I know they're coming after you. You at this point I feel like Madeline just has a booze empire. Like it's been slowly growing because you didn't take your bargain. You've just been producing.
I'm a rum runner now.
Truly Al Capone over here.
Oh my goodness. So this is the best person I could think to have this question be asked to. Pure heart. What is the official? What is their name and a detail about them?
Ooh. This is the tax collector?
This is the person coming to bother Madeline about this taxable income.
I think his name is going to be Sven. And fun fact about him is that he's been married 8 times and still doesn't see that he's the problem with everything. So
Everyone
I
knows
love
a Sven.
man, it said give a detail, but I like fun fact better. Like, here's a fun fact about Sven. So that's what the pure heart will determine. The old soul, who raised their suspicions? Who brought them over here?
Ace did.
Damn it.
Scorned by a former lover. Not even lover.
That was a
So
layup.
they've
I'm
been-
sorry. I was just like,
That was perfect.
They've been snooping around the sanctuary and asking impertinent questions of your friends. How can you restore your good standing or at least put an end to this distraction? Of course, this is for all 3 of you, but I'm curious to know what you'll do.
I think for this, I'm going to go ahead and play my Emperor card. I'm just gonna solve this with some wisdom, some insider trading knowledge. I think I'm
You're
going to
wipe
use
away
for
the
this.
problem. Okay.
Yep. Just gonna abuse my power for a second here, so that he can't abuse his power.
That's so good.
That is amazing. You still get to play your 2, Hawthorne and Madeline, but Madeline, as you're being bothered by this person, they essentially get like a what is it? A messenger runs up to the sanctuary, delivers a message to this Sven. He reads it and just says, "All right, have a nice day," and just starts to leave. In fact, I think you catch a glimpse of it on the paper. It references Poppy, this person who has just like gone solo and made it. What are the 2 of you going to do?
Well, hopefully before the message arrived, I would like to fall to my folly and again do more harm than good, and decide that if this guy is gonna come here to my home and demand taxes, then he can eat it. And I'm just gonna make this a problem. Yeah,
So-
I'm just like stuffing his tax notice in his mouth.
Like you stop him as
I
he's
was trying to
leaving.
imply you just get him drunk, but I like that better.
Madeline's very
Smack him.
physical.
Hawthorne, what do you do?
All right, this one might come out of nowhere a little bit, or it might be on brand for how she's been acting. So she doesn't think anyone, like in a good way though, like not like no one needs me anymore. It's just more like, yo, they solving these problems by themselves. They don't need me. I don't think I'm the mom friend anymore. So she's going to fall prey to one of her follies, which is depart on mysterious business. In that mysterious business, and she's not going to tell specifically Madeline because she kept on telling Madeline, you shouldn't be using magic. You need to like have structure and stuff like that. She's like, I'm going to go ham on my magic in a private location in order to like practice because it's been a while. I'm a little rusty. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And she like walks out while like she's stuffing this note in this man's mouth. It's like, cool, awesome. You're doing a wonderful job, dear. Keep doing you. Polly's got it all figured out. I'll be back later. Have a good one.
So, yeah,
like,
Poppy sends ahead this note, and the official's like, you know what? I'm not going to bother you anymore. And Madeline's like, no, come right back here. And there's an altercation happening. And while this altercation's happening, Hawthorne just walks past with a suitcase, like, you're handling it just fine, and leaves.
You're doing a wonderful job. Yes, keep doing that. You're great. You're good. Be back.
But somehow,
Thanks, Hawthorne.
the challenge was solved. Because he did leave. Because whatever was in that note was persuasive enough to let him leave despite being assaulted. Attacked? I don't know.
If the deck is gonna bully me, I'm gonna bully it right now.
You know what? Good. We'll see what happens. First off, Hawthorne, you get 2 wisdom cards for that. So
Yeah.
you get the 6 of Swords, and the King of Wands. So the King is a 13. And Madeline, you get the 4 of Swords. Another small card for you.
What was the other one?
Not 6 and a 13.
All right. Cool.
We literally have 3 cards in this deck left, so we're gonna speed through the end here. But you did solve it, so we move on to the next challenge. The Knight of Wands. Also, this game is as long as we want it to be, so I could pull some from the other deck if we wanted to do more. Yeah. It's also for Madeline.
Bullying you still.
Oh God.
Okay.
You said you were gonna listen,
no.
I read ahead. You said you were gonna bully the deck right back. Well, deck's got hands because an agent of the underworld has stolen your body and is doing such a good job of impersonating you that the coven might never have noticed. Each of you will tell the wild spirit what tipped you off, and then tell the coven how long you've been floating around helplessly watching. So there's more to this, but let's start. For some time now, perhaps after this attack, perhaps not, Madeline has been occupying just sort of an empty void space, helpless, while an underworld denizen, potentially her doppelganger, has been occupying her body. Now, Hawthorne is away firing magic spells at a mountainside, and Poppy has this internship. I don't want to call it an internship. It's court magician. You're like, it's really good. But it's probably taken some time for them to notice. So I want to know, for Hawthorne, you technically are physically absent for this, so however that means to you, what tipped you two off that something was wrong? And this went on for a bit. And maybe while you think
that.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. I think.
God, we're on a delay. Please talk. This is great. We're doing great.
No. Go for it. It's all you.
Madeline, how long were you helplessly floating in your body? We're gonna start there.
Oh, how heart-wrenching does this need to be?
Make it as
4
heart-wrenching
years.
as you want.
Are we doing a time jump? Because
So 20 years from now, no. Like a week before Ace proposed. Because Madeline herself might have had a different answer.
So essentially, from just before the end of Act 1 through all of these challenges that we've seen, Madeline was not herself. So that actually doesn't go into the future, that goes into the past. So yeah, what tipped you off?
Her being a little too rational at points where she normally would not be. Like it was one of those things where, like, I don't care how like hungover I am and like the shadow above my bed and stuff like that. Like, it was just like, okay, I appreciate like you thinking logically in certain situations, including to save me, because I think that you did actively like try to do that. But at the same time, like, your solution was not a very Madeline solution. It was very much, I was expecting swords to like stab into the ceiling. I was expecting something similar to that, or like similar to how we made like a collaborative magic spell to help Poppy. That's what I was expecting. I think he used wisdom. I don't remember, but I think he did something else. And I was like, that's interesting. But also, I am very sick, so I will not be able to look into that at the moment. So yeah.
Poppy.
I think for Poppy, it was a much more direct, obvious thing. I think it took so long to notice because Poppy's been off at the palace doing palacey stuff and hasn't really been back to like see Madeline in person in quite some time. So when she finally found some time to go and check to make sure that the tax guy is leaving her alone, leaving the coven as it is, and all of a sudden Madeline didn't know our secret handshake. Like, what is that about? How do you not remember how to do our secret handshake, bro. I thought we had something together. So I think that's like, there's something wrong. I don't know about this.
All right. So to move to the next part of this, let's see. If you solve this challenge with wisdom, first, how do you get the body back? How do you get the body married back to the consciousness? If you solve this challenge with wisdom, you may recover a stricken source, Madeline, but not a blackened one. So let's solve this problem.
What was the card? What would be our number for wisdom?
Oh yeah, it's the Knight of Wands, which is a 12. So tripled would be 36 points of wisdom to solve it.
I will say I will solve, even though this denizen that's joyriding in Madeline's body, that's like, tried to save me too. I'm like, I appreciate it, but you're still going back to where you came from. So she's going to use gravity magic to pull this thing out of Madeline's body, and then
Hell yeah.
Madeline will go back in, and I will.
What source are you striking? As you basically perform a very rushed and violent exorcism.
Yeah, get
just
the fuck out.
All at once. We'll see what that does to Madeline.
I'm so sorry in advance. But also, like, why the fuck are you in, like, my coven mate's body? Get the fuck out. So I am going to blacken unsure, and I am going to I have a question, actually. Unknowable, is that like somewhat people not being aware of?
It can mean whatever you want it to mean, and you can make up like, these are just aesthetic options that you can interpret as you wish.
So I will say unknowable. Oh, looks like you're doing okay. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just making it.
So instead of being like unsure of her magic, she's now very sure of her magic, but she is very hard to gauge, to like delve into, to like read is the best way to put from that point on. So she's a little bit more cold, which I think is what Madeline had like pointed out last time too. So she's a little bit harder to even read even before. So she solves it by like doing a rush gravity exorcism to get Madeline her body back.
Madeline and Poppy, you still can select an option here. The challenge is solved.
I think I'm going to go for a folly here. I'm going to make a humble offer, which is rejected. I think I'm going to notice that there is clearly something else in this body, and make it an offer I can't refuse, except definitely can, because it's a terrible offer. So it's something stupid like, "Oh, bake you some cookies, leave my friend." Like, it's not well planned, it's not well thought out, and it's like, absolutely not. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay.
I too am going to fall to a folly. I think Madeline underestimated the problem sort of back at the beginning. Like, there was definitely like a day or two that if she'd gone to her coven mates and been like, "Hey, I think there's something wrong with me," this could have been solved very quickly. But instead, Madeline was like, "Whatever, man," and then suddenly realized she was not in control of the situation.
All right. So with two characters falling to a folly, that does the last two cards in our deck. Divvies them out. So this would be our last challenge. Do we want one more, or do we want to end on this to move to our finale?
Maybe one more?
Yeah, let's do
one
one
more
more
to wrap it.
Final
like,
challenge.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the Madeline, you get the 6 of Cups. And Poppy, you get the 9 of Cups. Nice. I'm gonna just shuffle the cards. Actually, if I shuffle them, we get old challenges back. So I have to use, let's just do the top card, whatever's next. Let's see what it offers us. Our final challenge before we hit the finale here. The Ace of Swords. Of course it's a sword.
Of course it is.
Maybe we can finally end this war.
Interesting. So this is for Hawthorne, old soul. One of the kingdom's leaders has died under mysterious circumstances. Strike
I didn't
them
do
out
it.
and worsen. Oh my goodness. We'll get to that actually. Strike them out and worsen the kingdom's ignorance and despair as conspiracies and accusations run wild. So let's do that first. The ignorance is going to go up to 2. So we had it at 1 before, which means one of the sanctuary's friends is being harassed daily. Who and why?
Okay. So I answer both of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's as a coven, we're actually going to answer that.
Yeah.
We have a handful that we haven't introduced. We also have the goddess, who the shrine was sort of based around originally.
That's what I was gonna probably say too, because
I'm down for that.
Yeah, I was like leaning that way.
People are really being mean to the goddess of karma, it seems.
And it is the council's fault that like she's been forgotten along with other gods. So like they're like, oh, you're here, okay, let's like mess with you.
And additional ignorance and conspiracy. It's like, well, the kingdom's at war, and this leader died. It's got to be karma's fault, and gets really going on that. The other thing is the kingdom's despair worsens from 0 to 1. So when the despair goes up to 1, cross out a national joy and describe how it's ruined for everyone. The grandiose palace, the dance halls, the university, or the historic architecture? What's ruined by the passing of this leader?
I would say maybe the university, if this leader was the person who was really pushing the like academia in addition to parties kind of thing. Soon as they were done, so went that vibe.
Okay.
Like scrambling
I
to
think
like put in support for it now too, because that's where all the support was coming from. So
yeah.
All right,
And with with the ignorance going up too, the university kind of dies out. So let's move to some specifics. Pure heart, which of the kingdom's leaders died? Now, this is an interesting thing because we were told to put Sven in the leaders category. So he technically is there too, Sven with the 8 marriages. But your options besides Sven are the entire council of shadowy ministers, all of them.
Or all of them are dead.
Oh no.
Or Felipe, the youngest of these ministers, which I would treat separately.
All right, things are about to get real political. Okay.
Oh shit, okay.
Everyone except Felipe just died. No one knows why.
Yep.
No one knows how. But the ministers are all dead. There's chaos. The university shut down. Felipe never gets invited to parties, so he's like, no, absolutely not. Thank you so much, and just like no more. And he's now in charge. He's the last one standing. He's now in charge of everything, basically.
He has full control. So, wild spirit Madeline, who is the likeliest culprit for the murder of the entire council of shadowy ministers?
Poppy.
Look, I'm not saying I did it. I'm not saying I didn't.
So is this what the kingdom would be thinking, or is this what we would be thinking? Because I feel like we as a coven would never suspect Poppy, but this kingdom that's been kind of anti-magic might very much be suspecting Poppy.
I think it's, let's say it's the kingdom then, that the kingdom suspects Poppy.
Then I think this brand new magician who was involved with the war machine.
Yeah, here's what I think too, is that, obviously fingers might start pointing at Felipe. I think Felipe had an alibi. He was somewhere.
Yeah, he's too smart to be
separate. And so that's why fingers are pointing at Poppy, because maybe Felipe sent Poppy, maybe Poppy just did this. So Poppy's gained notoriety as like a solo mage. So this will be interesting. The last part of this is, can you solve the crime before stray fingers begin to point at the coven?
Oh.
Ooh.
This is your last challenge.
Spicy.
Of Act 2 before the finale. Can you keep Poppy from being convicted of the murder of an unknowable amount of shadowy ministers?
All right. I got ideas. So I would love to use like true magic to find out who the culprit is. I will be going into spy mode and I will go pass unseen to like listen to be in the room where it happens. So I'll follow Poppy in to the political situations, whether she knows that I'm there or not. It's entirely up to her. And I will be following people around and getting to the bottom of certain things to see if what the cause of these murders are. Because it is, I don't know how many people were on the council, but I'm assuming it was plenty enough to know that it's weird when all of them die similar at the same time or exactly at the same time. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. I will be striking lively on that one because I feel like I was already starting to not be lively.
All right. What are the two of you doing?
So it's gonna sound like I'm falling to a folly, but I'm definitely actually using magic for this.
Okay.
I'm gonna be striking will listen to reason. So when I hear any whisper whatsoever that Poppy may have been the cause of this, I am going out there with my sword magic and putting an end to those rumors one way or another.
Oh.
Well, damn.
Oh, dang.
So it sounds like a folly.
It does. I understand now what you were saying. It's like, what do you mean?
Okay, Poppy. The coven has sort of mobilized to protect you, either completely unknown to you or very known. What do you do?
Sorry, can we pause for just 1 sec? Like 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Be right back.
Of course.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
This is the perfect final challenge, y'all.
It is.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
And you know, if Ace happened to be one of the people spreading rumors, why that would be just fine.
I mean, maybe this
Sorry, it was
Madeline.
getting really windy outside and it was making
Okay.
noise, so I had to close my door. My apologies.
Of course. So,
Okay.
how are you solving this?
I think what I'm going to do is I think not knowing what my my two coven mates are doing, I'm also going to use some magic. I think I'm going to try and use my key magic to maybe my key magic in conjunction with my beast magic. Use that to kind of like follow Felipe around, because I definitely suspect Felipe. He's definitely not to be trusted. Everybody died but him. I don't think so. That's not how that works. So he's clearly sus. And I think what I'll do is send my familiar, this one, in my place. Just unlock all the right doors and send her in and have her report back. Won't you? Mm-hmm.
Amazing. First use of the beast magic. So all three of you, in completely different ways, sort of go solo and solve this problem. And sort of each of you using a different angle of this, you manage to curtail any of the rumors, but, you know, without using wisdom or anything like that, you don't gain any extra information of if this was Felipe or if blame was thrown. But for the most part, people stop accusing Poppy so openly, at least. And you solve this problem. So I think it would make that time to move to the finale. So all of you have your inevitable fates that you were given a few days back. And this challenge here, oh, good timing, my mom's coming back, can only be solved with wisdom and nothing else. So who has the judgment card? This would be the last one. Go ahead and go to the finale. Everyone go to the finale tab here. And if you want to read the judgment challenge, and if I am not visible by the end, you can start discussing how you solve it, which is really only with wisdom.
Okay.
Go ahead and read this for us.
The kingdom's leaders are finally coming to blows, fangs bared and claws bloodied. One player of my choice will tell us what the final straw was, and the other player will tell us what horrors will befall the kingdom if I do not intervene. This challenge takes 20 wisdom to solve, plus another wisdom for each point of ignorance, poverty, and despair, plus another 10 wisdom if the kingdom is at war. If I
Oh
solve the
no!
challenge, if I solve the challenge with wisdom, I'll tell you how I save the kingdom and what the future holds. If I can't, doom comes to the mortal world. So we would need 20 wisdom plus another 10 plus
I think 20,
another
another 3 after that as well.
2. Pardon?
I think another 3 after that as well, because it's 2 ignorance and 1 poverty.
And 1 despair. So that is 34 in total.
Okay. I have 20.
I have 1 second. Math. Oh my god. Okay, hold on.
What did I miss? Kingdoms at war. Things are getting worse.
I have 35. So.
Oh shit. Okay.
I have
Well then.
52.
Oh snap. Okay.
The
Dang,
little numbers
okay.
add
Well
up.
then. Well, why is this still this all?
So you can just solve this, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was
What-
just like folly.
Yep.
Folly.
Yeah, I want to show y'all actually. I've been seeing this happen. This is the stack that I've been looking at for Madeline, for like the stack of wisdom that's been building up.
Dang.
How much? What's the number you're trying to meet?
34.
And can you? What cards? Tell me what cards are left over. You can do that math on your own. But it sounds like you can just solve this on your own, and maybe tell me a little bit about how you do it.
Sure. I sort of get the feeling that, like, Madeline's not gonna solve this in what would necessarily be a traditionally peaceful way, but also not with quite as much violence as she has brought to many other challenges here. I feel like it was the war machine that really kind of kicked off this problem for us. So while the kingdom's fighting and teeth are bared and people are dying, I feel like Madeline just sort of uses her influence to gather the remaining alive leaders, walks up to the war machine, and literally just takes off the thing that Poppy put on it. And is just like, you're all fools. This didn't have to happen. It was your desire for martial superiority that led to martial problem. Don't do that anymore. And proves that their war meant nothing from the ground up. You're muted.
You're muted.
My headphones died. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yep, you're good.
Zoom defaults it, so I didn't know how to do it here. Okay. So that was a very Madeline way to solve that. And honestly, I love it. You can take some time now to do the math because I'd love to know how much wisdom you have left because that's going to be very important. But actually, let's move. Who has the death card? All right, Hawthorne, give us a read right here.
Alrighty. The underworld is out of balance, its denizens amuck, and its menace bubbling up into the mortal world above. I must travel there and set things right. One player of my choice will tell us how the barrier between worlds has changed, and the other player will tell us what surprise the ruler of that place has in store for me. This challenge takes 20 wisdom to solve, plus 5 for every source I've struck or blackened. I blackened 2 if I remember, and struck 1, right? So
You've struck. Blackened 2, struck 1. That is correct.
Plus 5 for every. No, wait, sorry. Plus another 10 if we fail to solve the judgment challenge, which we solved it, so I'm happy about it. If I solve the challenge with wisdom, I'll tell you how I restore the natural order once and for all, and whether I return unscathed. If I can't, fill my underworld claim track and turn to the appropriate page on the interpretation guide. The game is over.
All right, so that's 20 plus 15. That's a 35 wisdom challenge.
I can just do that.
You have enough?
I think I do. So
Wow.
I have 1, 8, 2, 5. Well, I'm just gonna double math that. Hold on.
This is
So
where the game gets really mathy for some reason.
10, 13, 11, and 1.
Yeah, if we can't get past this, we won't make it to the final challenge.
Right. Yep,
Yeah.
35.
35.
Mhm.
Excellent. Do you have to spend all your cards?
All of them. Yep.
You had just enough. Excellent.
Thank you, Deck. Thank you.
So, if you solve this challenge with wisdom, say how you restored the natural order once and for all, and whether you returned unscathed. This works very perfectly because you have this tie to the underworld.
Do I still have to choose like a player that set like tells how the boundary was like set?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
let's start there. Let's start there. So who's going to start by telling how the barrier between worlds has changed?
Poppy, tell me how the barrier was changed.
As a reminder, the barrier to the underworld as established before was an exhaustion of stairs. Just a long
Which, sorry?
An exhaustion of stairs.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I think with the close tie that you've established with your shadow self, maybe the difference is kind of weakened a little bit. It's the shades of gray are starting to creep in, and the walls are a little thinner now between them and us. And I think it's probably gone from exhaustion of stairs to just a straight escalator. It's just, you don't have to worry about it. They're just like coming here quickly.
Right. Madeline, what surprise does the ruler, the lordling of that place have in store for Hawthorne?
I think the surprise he has in store for Hawthorne is that he basically wants to give Hawthorne the same position that Poppy has, but for the underworld. She's meant to come be the court magician for the underworld.
Sorry.
Hawthorne's like, yes.
I was like, really? All right.
Oh, you got it. You come down ready for a fight and you get a job offer.
It's like, come at me. Oh, you want
Come at me with your resume.
So, yeah, what do you do? How do you restore the natural order once and for all? And do you return unscathed? I suppose unscathed could also be unemployed or not.
Okay, so I go down there ready for a fight. The ruler of the underworld, which might have sent one of their shades to spy on me overhead this entire time, and then I literally banished them from my room. Was like, okay, she the one. She has to be. Look at her. Look at that magic. And it's just like, actually, I would like you to travel from the worlds. You've been able to talk with your own shade and not have it be envious of you. You've been working with each other. And you understand the world, the underworld itself. So did you want to learn more magic here and just be here or travel between? And Hawthorne's going to say yes, like not letting loose or not holding back anymore from her magic at all, and learning as much as she can, despite how dark and arcane it probably might get. She's always wanted to learn more, and she doesn't feel like she's held back by her old mentor's strict teachings and the same teachings she's been trying to shove down these two throats. And they're also making their own way. So fuck that. Yes, let's go. Underworld magic. Let's fucking go.
So, like the court mage of the underworld, the court mage of the kingdom, and just running a liquor empire. That's where fundamentally. Didn't expect it to go there, but we get to move on. Actually, you succeeded in the challenge, so we get to see the final challenge. I've only played this game once before, and I've never seen this challenge in action. We failed at this. So, Poppy, do you want to go ahead and read? Actually, you're going to have to take steps in this one, and
yes.
So do what you.
All right. So both of you need to answer me truthfully, just like yes or no. Will we live together in the sanctuary forever?
Yes.
I believe so.
Okay. Do we have anything left to teach each other?
I don't think so.
No.
Yes.
Is there anything left to our story?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you love me? I won't take it personally.
Absolutely.
Good. I was going to take it really personally. All right. So for each no from either player, it takes 5 wisdom to solve. So that's 10 wisdom. If I solve this challenge, I'll tell you how the sanctuary continues on with or without us, and how our wisdom and magic passes on to its new coven. If I can't, the sanctuary will lie empty and all the knowledge of our art is lost. We, the players, should separate and sit in silence. Well, okay. Either way, the game is complete.
So it's
not a lot of wisdom.
Challenge. Do you have 10 wisdom?
Yeah, I sure do. So I'll just continue with this vein and go ahead and solve this myself with wisdom, I guess. So I think the sanctuary continues on with us being there. We like stop in. There's always one of us is always like there or at least around. I think maybe we're also starting to maybe bring in some more people to this coven because we're all off doing our own thing. We've got liquor empires to run and etc. And I think some new people are coming in just to like make sure everything's good, make sure that we're passing on the knowledge that we have accrued in our time to make sure that the magic doesn't die out. And I think the sanctuary continues much as it has the last forever since the sanctuary started. I think we take good care to make sure that the goddess is respected and the grounds are kept well and nothing is inherent, nothing is like super different about it. Like nothing big is changed. The aesthetic remains the same basically. And I think that we definitely hold it very close to our hearts, but know that there are bigger things we need to be worrying about as well.
All right. And with that, the game is complete. So congratulations, Coven. You got the best possible ending of many, many possible.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. I know it's not really common to say, but you won an RPG. Congratulations.
You won the RPG. Congratulations. Everyone's
We
fine.
never have to play one again.
Done. No more.
Been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 20 years and I still haven't won.
You've done it.
Yeah, you have. We'll make you a stash.
So, well done. Let's do outros. Let's talk about this. So I'd love to take a moment to have you all tell us what you're up to and tell us a little bit more about where we can find you. But first, I do want to say that Girls Run These Worlds wants you to know that tomorrow is Operation Copycat, a Juneteenth one-shot based on codename Kids Next Door, which sounds fucking amazing. So go check that out. But let's start with Sade. What do you want to promote? Tell us where we can find you, all the amazing things.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Sade Smith Edwards. You can call me Sade or Ambrose. You can find me on Twitter at @SSAmbrose_. Everywhere else, SS Ambrose, just because Twitter did not have that name for me, and apparently had to like be lame and put an underscore there, so it's okay. But you can find me on Girls Run These Worlds on Mondays. I am running my first GM stream. It's going to be session 3 out of 4 that we're running for the months of the week. When Death Calls. It's a wonderful, like beautifully dark horror that we're going for, and it's about monster hunting as well as experimenting with concepts of grief and loss and death. So please check that out. We're wrapping up. Another thing you can check me out on at Table Goth on Wednesdays is Hunter the Reckoning, Never Coming Home. So we did session 1 last week. The next session is this coming Wednesday, if I remember correctly. And it's going to get intense. Also talking about trauma. It's going to be great. It's fun. It's fantastic. I love it. The story is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So please check that out as well. And yeah, it was a pleasure playing this game. I absolutely adore it. I'm definitely buying it. So thank you for that.
Yep.
And
I want to jump in and also say, I know y'all have a chance to look at these books.
They're so pretty. They're so pretty.
So
so
good.
cool.
Just for the books, you should buy them. All right, Lex, where are you at? Where can we find you?
Hi, I'm Lex. You can find me on all of the socials and also my OnlyFans as a redhead vixen. Normally I'm red all over, but not today. You can see me all over Twitch. I am on the Saturday Vampire Takeover on Adjacent by Night on Level Up TTRPG or Level Up _ TTV. I am on a one guest star on Martlet for London is Bleeding. I am running my own Sabbat game on Gehenna Gaming. I have a number of other guest appearances and one-shots all over, so keep an eye on my socials because I always post selfies and info and times and all that stuff, so just keep an eye for me there. And yes, thank you so much, Paula, for running this for us, or facilitating this for us. It was fabulous, and having you there doing that, I think, really made this a lot smoother, especially in a Twitch atmosphere.
Absolutely. Yeah, I felt needed. Running at 3 where we all do it together is great, but it's hard to do when you're not in person. Nikki, where are you at? Where can we find you?
Hi, I'm Nikki. You can find me on most social medias under I'm Poppy Field. I don't do a lot of Twitter, so please don't talk to me there. I'm never there. I am on Instagram a lot. I'm also on TikTok. I make a lot of TikToks in character because I'm a huge nerd and that's what I do. I'm not currently working on anything else on Twitch, but we will be starting up the 2nd season of Phandalin by Night over on the Vancouver by Night channel in the next little while. Not sure when exactly, sorry. But you can also catch our backlog episodes on YouTube under the same name, and they're hilarious. I paint myself purple. It takes like an hour and a half. Please don't let it be in vain. Yeah, thank you so much again, Paula, for running this. It's been a lot of fun. I really like this game. I am 100% buying these books and forcing all my friends to play with me. So thank you again very much for inviting me for this.
Well, I appreciate all 3 of you. I'm Paula. You can find me at Art and Audio on Twitter, where I post about mostly art, a little bit of audio, but so many TTRPGs. You can see me tomorrow on episode 3 of my queer horror summer camp series, Sleepaway. That's 8 p.m. Eastern on Gehenna Gaming's channel, and Lex is in that. And
That's the one I forgot.
It's okay. I knew I was going to catch it. Those last 2 episodes, there's 4 episodes, so those last 2 are amazingly brutal and amazingly gay. Like, so gay.
So gay.
If you want to see a bunch of queer individuals have a mud fight and make out, literally, check it out tomorrow. And then also episode 3 of Wayfarer's Guide to Hate, my Wander Home miniseries, will be live on Critical Misses Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is basically not horror, exactly the opposite, but I will say Wander Home, Sleepaway, and Wickedness is all Possum Creek Gamings. That's all I'm doing right now. No dice. Belonging outside belonging systems. I'm obsessed. I would also like to take a second to thank our wonderful tarot deck that caused all of this chaos with the gorgeous color. I bought this in Salem on Friday the 13th, and really it did show because it decided Lex was its enemy. And
let's start with swords. Let's start a war.
It was just punchy, and I really appreciate it for doing that. But outside of that, find all these wonderful people in all the wonderful places, and I hope to see you all around soon. Get this game; it's so cool. And see you later. Bye.
Bye.